All right, let's get this show on the road.
All right, let's do it.
Benson, when do you have to be done?
3:30.
Okay, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
All right, let me just this. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Record.
Okay.
Recording.
Hello. Oh wait, sorry. Shit. Keep recording. Keep recording. Don't stop.
It's not like we were reaching for it.
Yeah.
We're like, fuck it.
Shit, God!
That's my favorite. Fuck it is the mean. You've heard the Mean Gene. Fuck it, right, Benson?
Yeah.
SummerSlam promo. Fuck
Yeah.
it.
Fuck
Oh
it.
shit. We're live. All right. Live from the internet, it's Popsicles.
Number 76.
We're an old man now.
Here we
Spirit
are.
of 76.
Uptown Funk gonna give it to you.
It definitely is giving it to me today.
I love how we always start with a sputter. Well, to liven it up, we have our tried and true segment. Brendo sings the pop hits. I'm gonna send him some lyrics, and he's gonna from a popular song of today,
All right.
and you have to guess, Benson, that is,
Yeah.
what the song is.
I think I'm
Let's do
zero for however many we've done so far.
Right, and I assume that while he's driving around, where do you live, Carson?
Cyprus?
Casitas? Cyprus.
Yeah.
That not for 1 second does he go, hey, maybe I should flip on the radio for 3 seconds, and maybe I can give myself the edge on this.
No.
Why should he?
I mean, in my defense, we
Why
didn't.
prepare?
I didn't start guessing until the second one, and I would have known the first one, which was Anaconda. I would have gotten that one.
Okay,
I mean, I can't prove that, but I would have.
true.
I believe you.
Well, all right, here we go. I'm going to put it in the old chat there. Go ahead, Brendo. Just go into it. Just throw into it.
Okay. I think I've had enough. I might get a little drunk. I say what's on my mind. I might do a little time, 'cause all my kindness is taken for weakness. Now I'm 4 or 5 seconds from wildin', and we got 3 more days till Friday. Something. Wait, I lost my place. I'm just trying to make it back home by Monday morning. I swear I wish somebody would tell me, ooh, that's what I want. Woke up an optimist, sun was shining, I'm positive. Then I heard you was talking trash. Hold me back, I'm about to spaz.
That could be your catchphrase.
Hold me back, I'm about to spaz. It probably should be.
That'll be your new next shirt.
That's my theme song.
Have you thought about new shirts for the Radio Brendo Man? Is there another line? Wave
Well,
2?
we're gauging whether or not we
Interest.
should do a wave 2. We've had some people asking about it, and then so we got to make some decisions. I'm not sure. I like
Anyway.
hold me back, Radio Brendo Man. Hold me back. I'm about to spaz.
Yeah. I mean, we can capitalize on this this song here. It's very popular now. Matthew Benson, what is this song and who sings it?
I have no idea on either count.
Okay, it is a Kanye West song.
I don't
And
think
you
that's
claim
true.
to be
Benson,
a
Mr. I love Kanye.
Kanye West, and he's been in the news a lot the last couple of weeks. It's Rihanna
Uh-huh.
featuring Kanye West, or the other way around. Who knows? If, you know how it is.
You know, I'll be
it's
honest.
called-
His featuring credits are a weak spot for me.
It's called 4 or 5 Seconds. Let that fan be your fanfare for that's Benson's fanfare. I know you'll never hear it. It'll only be in my and Brendo's heads, but we'll call it Benson's fanfare. And it's a good song. It's
Well, it's, I do tend to miss a lot of the tracks that feature Kanye because those don't really like come up in the places I look as a Kanye song. So with these, I'll usually be like a year later. I'll be like, oh shit, this is basically a Kanye song that I haven't heard before.
but it's a good Tuesday song when you're in the middle of the work week. I know that doesn't apply to Brendo these days, but
Hey, I'm going to school now.
Nerd.
going to school or being in the or doing homeschool.
I go to a building and
Oh, wow.
I go into school.
Are you the Garrett of the school? I've been watching a lot of Community, and you would fit in perfectly as one of the side characters in
I don't
Community.
think I'm the Garrett. I think I'm more the. No, maybe I'm the Garrett. I don't know.
You
Can
could
you say
easily
crisis alert?
slide into Garrett's role, and it wouldn't be exactly the same, but it would deliver exactly what Garrett needs to deliver. I feel. Anyway, let's go right into some Comic-Con news because today we're recording on a Saturday.
Today was the registration day.
Today
It's
was
done. It's over.
registration for regular peoples. That's it. No second waves, no second chances.
Well, last year there wasn't, and I don't know what would change as opposed to this year that there would be. So, I think that period where there was a large amount of badges released later on, I think that might be over.
Yeah.
So this is the wave in which our co-host Matt Benson gets his badge, and what was the result of that?
No badge. Did not get a badge.
But he's not out.
No.
He's down, but he's not out.
We've got our sources.
Right. So when this is the first time you've lost out on a badge,
No, it is not. This is the second time I've lost out on a badge.
and the first time was
2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
No,
And
what
that
did you
time
do
I actually just got lucky and got the badge on the resale.
okay, which they no longer do.
Yeah, which is
Well,
nice.
they've done it every year except last year, so I don't know if that trend will continue or not. Usually
Well,
there's a resale because people, the
Give
way
them
they
up.
used to do the badge, people could buy multiple badges, but now they the way they changed everything, so there isn't as many people with extra badges out there as there was. Like, I don't think that problem exists anymore.
Okay, breaking news. Adam Wells is in the chat, so I'm going to go straight to our email segment. We'll curb Comic-Con talk for 1 second. We did get a correspondence from Adam Wells this week called Episode 75's Easter Egg. He writes, so I was listening to episode of 75 of Popsicles in my car, and I just let them play on the podcast app on my phone, only to find that attached at the end of the episode is a 30-minute episode of classic radio Brendo Man from the fall of 2004. Topics covered: Bush ruining the country, and some guy named Lewis discussing the first episode of Lost. Just wondering why this was attached to the episode. Brendo, you have his ears. Unload.
Because you told me to do it.
I told you to do it on the episode.
Yes.
That's
He
it.
can't. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. He hadn't listened to the whole episode yet. I don't know.
I don't know why we brought it up.
You were just talking about how you thought it was funny when it was just me ranting and raving on a podcast, and you'd like more of that.
And
My favorite-
Brendo specifically brought up you losing your mind when Bush beat Kerry, and Derek said he wanted to hear that.
Yeah.
And it's a very, it's a younger Brendo Man. I don't know if it's the modulation. You just sound
No,
younger.
I definitely sound younger. I mean, that was 10. That
10
was
years
like 10, 11 years ago. Yeah.
So you're in China. You're depressed. Anything would set you off at that point.
Yeah.
You're
I was
a
already
political
in.
guy,
I was already in a rough place.
and you're like, Kerry has receded, but I have not. Which is my favorite line. We're gonna keep going. We'll never give
I've
up.
never been that passionate about anything before or since. I don't know. Like,
At one point, you just start reading blog
Yeah.
headlines, basically, and being disgusted by it. You need to be a talking head on some sort of channel. I'm sorry that G4 is gone, but you're a good correspondent.
well, if
You're
any
good-
channels out there are looking for a large talking head, I will gladly fill in.
I mean, he's emotional. He knows what he's talking about. He's everything you'd want out of a television guest, I'd find.
I know
Adam
as
Wells
much as
has
I'm
no
talking, what I'm
response.
talking about is most other people that are on those shows, I would think.
True. No response from Adam Wells.
He might be driving in his car right now. You know?
right now in the chat. Okay.
Who knows?
While we're still in the email, let's just finish the email off really quick here. I got some
Mhm.
Tumblr questions.
I somehow just got a message from Adam Wells. It's not in the chat, but it's like it came to my phone somehow.
Sometimes the chat, if you're like on a mobile device, the chat doesn't go to the chat.
Okay, what's the? Go ahead and speak for him.
He says, I must have not been paying attention to that part of the episode when it was mentioned. I find it weird, especially since it started with an Eminem song.
Right. And what was
That
that
was the
song
other
again?
thing that you liked about it, Derek, was that it started with the Eminem song.
It's very dramatic.
It was Eminem's song "Stomp" that was written for the election, the 2004 election.
To Anonymous. You know Craig from the Res? Does that mean he lives on an Indian reservation?
Yes, he does. That's correct.
He may have said that before, but I saw an Indian comic recently that had a lot of jokes about the Indian reservation. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
Craig from the Res. Anyway, this first email is from Anonymous. Derek, you call Benson a millennial as an insult. According to Wikipedia, researchers and commenters use birth years ranging from the years 1980s to the early 2000s. I just want you to be a little more creative in the way you insult Benson. Believe me, at the Insult Labs, we are always cooking up new ways to burn our dear Benson. So don't worry about that. We're always in the mix, always accepting suggestions.
Yeah.
And to couple that, I don't want to upset Benson too much again after the last episode, but I never mentioned that we got an email, I forgot from who, about us. Somebody wrote us about Benson's comic pickups, what he picks up at his local comic book store, and asked the question if he was trying to impress the girl at the comic book store with
Yeah.
his selection. I just want to applaud that person. That was good radio.
Well, you applauded him already because we did talk about this on the show.
I just really feel I felt really proud of the audience then. I felt they were really they were really working towards.
But they think man comic book starring a woman to impress some ladies. Thereby a direct attack on women in comics, I would say. But go ahead and applaud him.
I just
serious allegations there.
I just felt proud of our audience at that point. I felt we were really gelling. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out.
Henry Smith says he can't hear anything right now. Are we all clear on the technical end, Brenda?
I think we're fine. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not. I can hear you guys.
Something's wrong with you, Henry. Sorry.
Sorry.
So the
Okay,
second
on
question.
YouTube. There we go. Yeah, the Hangout app can be a little finicky.
Our second question
I apologize
here.
for that.
You know what? I'm going to save this question because it goes into another segment I want to talk about.
Okay.
So back to Comic-Con. Why don't you tell us the process you would have to do in order to get a ticket this year?
Okay, so what happened this year? There was some technical problems related to the reason why there's always technical problems because people just I don't know what people expect from Comic-Con that they're like. First of all, not everybody can get a badge. That's the reality, and that's people can.
What's capacity? Do you know capacity?
Capacity is like 125,000.
Okay.
Maybe.
And somehow it always breaks the records of attendance every year.
Well, because they find ways to increase the capacity, but by just a little bit, and that's where they've hit the end where they can only do so much. And at this point, they're waiting on a convention center expansion, which may or may not ever happen. And that's where we enter the discussions where Comic-Con may or may not relocate, because it's all hinging on that convention center expansion. And right now, San Diego is in the middle of a freaking. It's either they're either going to expand the convention center or they're gonna build a new stadium, and no one's sure which one of those is going to happen, or if neither of those happen. That's also a possibility because San Diego is being kind of dumb when it comes to tourism. I don't understand it, but that's some local politics at play. So that's out of Comic-Con's control at this point. So people can bitch all they want, but Comic-Con cannot magically make the building expand.
Right.
So
I heard that
that's
2016 that it's not going to be there.
I don't think it'll happen that soon. I think if it's gonna be moving, it won't be for another couple years.
Okay. Anyway, explain the process of actually doing it online.
So they have their newest process because there's so many people. I mean, I don't know how many people are attempting to get badges, but it's way more than the capacity. So let's say it's like 1 million people. And there's 100,000 badges. So that's 1 in every 10 people will get a badge. That's loose math right there. But let's just say that's what it is. So when you have 1 million people trying to get to a website, if you don't have the proper infrastructure, that can cause problems. In years past, they had major problems with, like, people would try to go on the website to get badges, and the website would just crash.
Right.
And that happened in previous years. So to avoid that problem, they have created this new system where there is a waiting room where, as long as they give you this ID, you use that ID to log into the waiting room. As long as you're in the waiting room before 9 a.m. on the Saturday that it goes on sale, you have the same chance as anybody else to get a badge. The system randomly selects people from the waiting room, and then they can buy their tickets. Now, so the problem that happened this year was they told everybody, because I received these emails too, so anybody that claims they didn't know about this is either too dumb to read directions or is just a fucking liar. Sorry, I don't mean to get angry about this. It's not really something I'm angry about.
Here's what I'm going to do.
So what happened was, just 1 second. So what happened this year was a lot of people didn't follow directions because you needed to log in to the system beforehand, like you could do it like they started giving out these emails like a month ago, where you could log in and get your ID to log into the waiting room system. So what happened was a huge amount of people didn't do that.
Right.
So they waited until this morning to try, like let's say they're like, oh, I'll just wait at like 7 a.m. I'm going to log in to the Comic-Con site and get my ID. Well, 1 million people tried to do that, and San Diego, some would say too optimistically assumed that people would read directions and pay attention to emails, so they weren't prepared for that amount of traffic onto the ID site, so the ID site crashed. So then there were a lot of people that couldn't log in to the waiting room.
The ID site got back up still before 9.
It did, because I got an email at 8:30 a.m. with my so San Diego actually went out of the way as a courtesy and just emailed everybody their login IDs, even though that must have taken a huge amount of work because they would have to go in and generate and like retrieve everybody's IDs and send emails, which was something they didn't intend to do.
So let's use Benson as the example. So how long did you wait? What did you do? Give us your process, Benson.
Characterization. The thing said get your ID anytime up till and including then.
That's true.
And just because I thought it wasn't a big deal, I did wait till this morning. But also,
Benson is one of those people that did not follow directions.
I don't think it's not that they did follow directions. I just don't think it should be Comic-Con's fault that everybody waited until the last minute to retrieve their IDs.
It's not a problem because I went in there and it was crashed the first time I went in, and then I went in again 5 minutes later and it was fine.
There you go.
Okay, what time
it was a non-issue.
Give us how long did you wait?
Okay, sorry. It's breaking up. Okay, there we go. Sorry.
So how long did I wait?
Yeah.
Well, I got in at 8 o'clock. I went in to log in. Couldn't because the thing was crashed. So like 5 or whatever. I got it. I got the password and logged in. And then sales didn't start till 9. That was the official time. It took a little longer, just as it always would. So around 9:30, they started moving people from the waiting room, and I was there for about an hour before it said everything was sold out. I had not been moved by that time, so.
So let me read. So here's on Facebook, Comic-Con International's post was, okay, we're sold out now, and 1,088 replies to this post.
Oh God, I can't imagine what that's like.
So here's what I'm going to do, Brendo. I want you to respond to them, but keep in mind, just so you don't get too angry, they're not talking to you.
I understand that.
And you're not responsible for these people. You could get riled up though, because there are many different opinions.
Well, I'd be upset too if I didn't get in. Okay,
here's the big one.
What are they gonna do?
Here's a big one. 2 hours of my life wasted. Thanks, Comic-Con. What do you have to say to that? I know what
I
I
would
have to say to
say
that.
the system is the system. You knew about it ahead of time. They've sent out emails for a month. Um, they can't give badges to everybody. They can't.
And if you want to go to this highly
That's what
trafficked
you have
thing,
to do.
that's what you have to do,
And
and you
if you
might not
can't,
get in.
and I think what you were, I'm sorry to step on you a little bit. What I think you were about to say is, if you can't handle waiting 2 hours to get a
Yeah,
badge, you can't handle Comic Con
that's another good point.
Yeah, that is a
because
really good point.
you will be spending a lot of time waiting and not doing anything and stuck in a giant mass of crowded people.
All right,
So if
speaking
you're
to that,
not, if you
here's
can't even handle the badge process,
2 hours of
um,
waiting in your own house with
yeah.
your food and television.
Plus, once you're in the, so like, let's say, what you could have, if you were that concerned about waiting, what you could have done, you could log into that system as long as you were logged in by 8:59 a.m. and then you could have just sat there. Like
Yeah.
you're not doing anything. That's the thing. This is I think this is also a case of the internet has spoiled us because does anybody remember what it was like to get tickets before the internet existed?
Do you?
Yes, it was
What was it
fucking
like?
terrible. If you're dealing with something like, I'm not talking about Comic-Con because I don't know if what Comic-Con would have done if they had had this kind of demand before internet ticketing systems
People would
existed.
have to leave their screech at the box office.
Because
That's what
I
would
mean, I
happen.
think when I was a kid, you used to they didn't do any advance sales. You just went up and got a badge. It wasn't a
You
thing.
can be in fucking
But
San Diego before you realize you can't go in.
but what I'm talking about is like in the old Ticketmaster days, you used to have to physically go and stand in a line for God knows how long. They had these stupid wristband systems, and I sat in lines for 8 hours and then didn't get a ticket, and
And
that was just the way it
never
was.
complained about any wasted life.
So
There's lots of life out there. 2 hours.
but
is
now,
nothing.
yes, you still have to wait in line, but you can do it from the comfort of your own home. I mean,
Right.
shut the fuck up.
There's that picture, I think it was of an early 80s Comic-Con where it's in like basically a high school auditorium and like
Yeah.
people are just basically walking in. It's like really it's really not that anymore.
I will never, I mean, my first modern Comic-Con experience was in 2005. I parked my car probably 3 blocks away on the street for free. I walked to right up to the badge line. No, I still had not waited in a single line. Bought my badge for that day. I think it was Saturday, and then I walked right into Hall H. All those things are now completely and utterly impossible.
All right, speaking of that, here's another complaint that I've seen a lot of, and this guy says, I'm going to say it again. They should now let me complete this comment before you respond.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again. They should just sell Hall H passes for the weirdos that like to sleep on the sidewalk the whole weekend for some panel or another. Some people just like to walk the floor and go to the smaller panels. Now, Hall H has been a point of contention in Comic-Con forever, and even we've talked about how do we cull the demand for Hall H? What can we do? We ourselves have said put it into like Petco Park or put it in some giant stadium or something like that.
But that still doesn't change that there's a finite amount of badges. They can't just sell unlimited badges to the floor. I think that's what this person assumes, that they can just...
This guy is suggesting to sell tickets separately to panels.
That still wouldn't change anything. That would not.
Right.
That would make the whole system even more fucked up.
Right, because that's even more limited.
Again, there is still these people that are complaining. I don't think they understand. They act like Comic-Con is like holding a bunch of badges somewhere, or that they have unlimited like.
Well, remember
capacity.
when we were eating outside and saw Jim with that bag full of 50 badges, which probably 10% used. So there are kind of lots of badges floating out
but
there.
a lot of those are for the entertainment and the people that are
They were
coming.
never gonna
So
be for you.
if they didn't give those badges out, then there would be nothing for people to come and see.
That's amazing. Man, you're on fucking point here, Brenda.
I'm
Justin,
not going
your
to get
seat.
emotional here. I'm just going to... There are plenty of facts to back up Comic-Con's
And
choices
Benson,
that they've
please
made.
chime in
And
if
again,
you feel the need to.
The other thing that I hear is that, oh, they're just after money. Let me remind people that Comic-Con is a non-profit organization. They don't make any money from this.
Oh wow, this is for the love of the game.
It is. It truly is.
Okay, another complaint. How the holy heck do you refuse to move out of San Diego to a city and venue that can handle the demand? That's already and it
It's
has been
already
debated
been
for
in
years.
place for years, but moving a thing like Comic-Con is not just, oh, we just move, because where do you move? Los Angeles? There's no hotels there. That'd be a fucking nightmare. Anaheim, that's the closest, and I think at some point there is going to be a serious consideration to move to Anaheim, but then with Anaheim, I think I could talk about this all day, but Anaheim does not have having been to WonderCon, having
Yeah,
experienced the
the proper
after-hours
stuff.
WonderCon experience. There isn't anything to do after Comic-Con in Anaheim really, except if you want to go to Disneyland. Also, what else? As a experienced and former employee of Disneyland, what I know Comic-Con knows this, and why they haven't moved to Anaheim yet, because in theory they should have moved to Anaheim years ago, because there is more. The convention center is bigger. It is.
Right.
But the hotel availability during the summer, when Comic-Con
Yeah.
would be a major issue, because people are like, oh, there's tons of hotels. Guess what all those hotels are for, you fucking morons? They're for Disneyland. They are not. They're
Not
not
for
made to
you.
support a convention, a giant convention of 100,000 people. There would be a major hotel problem in Anaheim, and they are working on. That's one of the major issues in as far as moving to Anaheim. And then people are like, what about Vegas? I don't want to go to Vegas for Comic Con. That just doesn't. I don't know. That's a different. That's a
Hundreds
different
of
fucking
thousands
vibe, man.
would go, and many few would come back. I feel.
Yeah.
And I would have agreed with this.
And I mean, yes, there's
lady.
other places, but every single venue has its own challenges
I
to
would have
deal with.
agreed. I would have agreed with this lady a couple of years ago, but after a few years of going, like I like going to San Diego. I like that it's there. I like the vibe.
Yeah.
I like the Gaslamp District. I like it there.
There's
Anyway,
it's
so-
that's the whole thing about Comic-Con is it's all about the entire experience, and
So here's
Comic-Con
another
is
comment.
what it is because of San Diego.
Here's another
Sorry,
comment.
Go ahead.
Thanks to all the people who bought 4-day passes, your greed deprived many others of the chance to go.
That's insane and makes no sense. How dare you want to go to Comic-Con? Is that basically what that person is saying?
It's like, oh, you're greedy for wanting to go all the days.
Because a lot of people are coming from people come from all over the world,
They make it their
And-
vacation.
and that's I can't even acknowledge
Okay.
that. That just
Beth,
doesn't
then,
make any
do you
goddamn
wanna,
sense.
Do you have any comment to that?
You know, I'm fine. These people are upset. I've got the sort of
I
background
get
hookups
that.
to get in, so I got mine jacked. That's all I really care about.
And I get the fact that I'm coming from a position where I don't have to worry about a badge, but I would like to think that if I was in their position and I didn't get a badge, I would at least be rational about it. I don't know.
Should I name this person? It's a positive one. This guy's like very excited. Got
Okay.
Friday and Saturday. First timer. I'm pumped. Congratulations, Tito.
There you go. I mean,
I'm
that's
happy
a
for
good
you.
thing to be excited about.
I'm trying to find what this specific one was, but one of them was like, people. Here's the two completely different ways of thinking that there was lots of complaints for. One was saying you should let the people that haven't gone before get first tier at this, and then the other, before you respond to that, is you should really let the people that go every year get first tier at this.
Both of those are horrible, and it needs to be. That's the thing. That's why it's good, is because both of those people have an equal chance. Anytime you give preferential treatment to anybody, that's a shitstorm waiting to happen. So that's why they don't do it.
Right.
So there's always going to be those people that want preferential treatment, and that's a bad thing. And I'm glad that Comic-Con doesn't do that, because that's just dumb.
So currently, the people that are guaranteed to go in this group are just Brendo.
Basically,
But we hope for the best. It'll probably be all of us.
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yes, we have our ways. my ticket is still in Brendo's hands for March, and I barely got in last time,
Yeah,
right? Like I barely got the guest badge.
that is correct.
But we hope for the best. I trust Brendo. Brendo's always been kind enough to handle all of this for me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
To extend that appreciation via fried fish on preview night. It's our tradition.
Oh yeah,
We will do our tradition
go to
this
the
year.
Tin Fish right there. It's always a great time.
Because that's I was telling somebody else earlier, is we really can't. Well, this is for me anyway. Really can't be excited until we clink that beer glass across the street.
True.
Because now we're there.
That's when it's
Our
real.
stuff is unloaded. We've got our badge. We're ready to go in.
Yeah.
That's the road to Comic-Con. Listen, this is not for the faint of heart.
It
It's
isn't.
not for
It really
it's not
isn't.
for any fair weather fans. It isn't at all. And that used to make me not want to do it, but now you get your taste
Yeah.
and you're in.
Once you're in for life. I feel like once you're really in.
Well, if you guys died next week, I wouldn't want to go.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the
Are you
same
sure
if you
about
guys
that,
were-
Derek?
What would I do though? Think about it. Who am
Hang
I
out
gonna
with
waste
Phil?
time for? Well, all right, fine. I guess it wouldn't be so bad if you guys died. I'll just hang out with Phil.
I wouldn't want you not to go to Comic-Con as a result of my
No,
death.
but it wouldn't be as fun. You guys
I'm
make
sure.
it fun.
If you died, it wouldn't be as fun, but
But you'd still go. I'm not asking you to not go.
of course I would. I mean, come on. I'm excited that I get to take the train again this year because I always love taking the train down, and I'm also excited for our Benview slumber party.
Right.
Cast situation.
Yeah.
So, speaking to the same internet geeky things, Mondo had a poster come out this week that was, in my eyes, I always
This is
take a
where
look.
the anger I feel like is warranted because
So,
their system is broken.
to me, what came out this week was the best Mondo poster that I've ever seen.
I would say it's way up there. Plus, it's Rice Cooper. He's one of my favorite artists.
And it's I have his Gremlins poster from 2009. I physically went to Gallery 88. I stood in a line. I sweated it out as posters were selling out left and right, but I managed to get his
That
Gremlins
was me
print.
trying to get the Tyler Stout Kill Bill poster, and I didn't get it.
So I want the companion to it, and it was a Gremlins 2 poster. It's amazing. You can check it out online. The thing that makes it amazing to me mostly is that it has a Welcome to New York sign on it that's all Gremlins 2'd out.
Yeah.
There was
That's
a previous
my favorite
Mondo
part of it.
poster. There's a previous Mondo poster for Gremlins 2 that has a gremlin popping out of an apple, and I think that now I'm ready to agree that that poster is really shitty.
I always, because it was, I remember you could just buy it on the Mondo site for a while because they didn't sell out of it.
And I never did.
That's an indication of a bad poster.
It was a giant apple and a gremlin popping out of it and a little gizmo hanging off of the apple and then a cityscape. It was a good first draft, but it was not good enough. So the last Mondo poster I bought was the Drive one, and that one I did manage to get.
That wasn't Mondo.
But wasn't it sold through Mondo?
Nope.
No?
No.
Anyway, so I guess I've never tried to get a Mondo poster before.
Well, that was still, it was on that level. That sold out like that day.
Right. So I got a lot of emails when the announcement that the poster was coming the next day. Brendo, Adam Wells, people were looking out for me.
Yeah.
Brendo and Adam were telling me how to get it. And even though I did the tricks that you have to do to be the first one ready to go, it was 8:47 a.m.
The game was freaking rigged, man.
It was 8:47 a.m. I was driving to work. I was on the freeway as I got the text that it went up. I was logged in. I refreshed the page. It took a second to refresh. It didn't even take long to refresh. I put it in the cart. When I had it in the cart, I thought I was home free. But when I went to pay for it, it's like, oh, something has changed since you put it in the cart. It sold out, and I nearly ran into 5 cars just out of anger.
Wow, you tried to buy a Mondo in traffic.
In traffic, and I
That's
would have
some
done it.
freaking skill, man.
I would have been able to do it if it wasn't for the fact
Bastards.
that it was already sold out before the tweet went up.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Explain how that's the case.
Okay, so my theory, this is theoretical but highly likely, is that there are some dudes and maybe girls, who knows, that have set up some scripts that they probably have some kind of polling script going on, or they can, as soon as that poster is up, they
Like the
can,
link is like when the actual link
as
is
soon as
created,
the link
right?
is active, they can detect it, and they have a bot set up where it's already got an account, and they've just boom done.
Now,
Like,
how many theoretically could they get at that point? Are they
well,
just
so
getting
there's
one, or
only
are they getting
one
a
per
bunch?
shipping address.
Uh-huh.
So what you would have to do is, and this is entirely possible, so this is definitely how it's going down, is there's a network of people set up with multiple accounts, with setting up with multiple shipping addresses. That's all you need, and
Uh-huh.
that's easily obtainable, and then it's done. It's like it happens
Seconds.
automatically.
Mere second, less than seconds.
Yeah, so it happens automatically, and then once they have the posters, they've got their eBay listings ready to go. Boom,
Yeah,
done.
and that's what they were. And instead
That's
of
exactly
this,
what happened.
like I'm looking at the Comic Con comments,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people like, oh, I got in, hey, I got in. Not one person that commented under what's going on over there. Who's fumbling?
Sorry, I was adjusting my computer.
So not one person under the Mondo tweet that it went up said I got it. They were like,
Yeah,
"What the fuck?" I 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds.
You
Can't
guys
they
should.
make enough posters to last 30 seconds?
We
That's
should
all I
do
needed.
an investigation and write an expose on this Mondo Mafia.
Oh, people have. I mean, if you look up Mondo conspiracy theories on the internet, like, they
You
are
know what?
legion.
Yeah,
I'm
but they're
good.
conspiracy theories. We need to be or I guess it would be you
Facts.
I
guys.
guess,
Whichever
I
one it is.
mean,
We need
there
to be
are
Woodward and
ways.
Bernstein.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. If I was at Mondo right now, knowing and this is the thing, any network engineer or anybody with any kind of, if they had if they maybe they are working on this. I'd like to think that they are. Any person worth their skill could figure out who was doing this and put a stop to it. So
Now,
the fact that they haven't, and that this has been going on for some years,
years.
is why there are allegations of collusion.
So you're saying that Mondo may be into it as well.
The only thing that's
Only their
holding me
stuff is-
back from saying that is I have personally met the guys from Mondo and talked to them, and I want to believe that that's not true, because they are seriously super
Really,
super nice.
it's a
cool
booth
dudes.
at we've seen it at many cons that has a really big demand, and every single time that we've dealt with them, and this is in the midst of being super busy and slammed, they've always been really nice to
Like
us.
the super nicest dudes. I've like totally like Brendoed out on them, and
Right.
they've rolled right with it. Like,
My favorite Mondo WonderCon memory is when we went there. I think it was 2013. I think it was a Friday around noon. You walked up, you're like, "Hey, no line," and you walked right up to the Mondo booth, and this guy screamed, "There's a fucking line!" And it was like behind you, like a good 50 feet back. You could see the line, and I was like, "Uh-oh!" Like this could this could easily become something. But you all you had was questions. It's
Yeah.
not like you're trying to buy anything. But I'm glad that didn't turn into a big mess. Anyway, so I didn't get the poster then, and I was
Yeah.
looking at these eBay listings, and I was like, "You fucking monsters!" But I bought one off of eBay.
Oh man. So how much was that?
It was about no shipping. It was about $120.
So there you go. I mean, so they're not. So it's
It's
not.
only
'Cause
gonna get more. Like, how
that's-
much are those 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea posters
I
worth
mean,
now?
that's where you're reaching. Like, I mean, any of those ones, after a certain amount of time, there is a speculation aspect to it, which I think that's a legitimate thing. Like, you buy something and then you can like hold on to it and then sell it on eBay later. So like some of those posters, like look at like the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea poster, Tyler Stout Kill Bill, the Tyler Stout Star Wars posters. We're talking like $1,500 a poster.
Up to like $3,000.
Yeah,
I've seen.
three. I've seen ones for three. Like some of the variants will go for like $3,000.
And these are things that are available for like what, $40, $50 initially.
$50 initially. So what? But this is where you have. This is where it's definitely a well-organized network because they don't. They're not in it for the long con. They're not in it for like those waiting like 2 years. Because like you buy a Tyler Stout on Mondo or something, any big poster, and if you waited a few years, yes, you're looking at a profit of like $1,200. They're looking for the short money. So they basically buy them at $50, they put them up on eBay for $120. They've made $70.
Right.
So you do that every week
I talked
or
to
every
you,
couple weeks. That's a good income right there.
I talked to you about you tossing away all this certification nonsense and how come we can't use your savvy to get in on this kind of racket.
And what did I say to you?
Your response was, in order to be the Walter White of Mondo posters, I would need a Gus ring too.
Well, I also said before that. I said I am not an asshole.
Right. And then I was like, we could be poster kings, and then you're like, you could be my Pinkman. You were into it once you applied your own Breaking Bad model.
Yeah, I was just being funny. Yeah.
But I sometimes I wish you were that geek hacker guy.
But there's a moderate overhead to that I don't have. So it's,
right.
I mean, unless you can find me we would need some kind of backer.
Right.
But I would rather use my forces. Heck, I would volunteer my services to Mondo to try and stop these assholes.
Right. You're like anonymous.
Except I'm not a total weirdo asshole.
You think anonymous are now careful now. You think anonymous are assholes?
Just
they're
look up.
Batman. They take their own. They take the law into their own hands.
I guess, but the way they choose to do it is very questionable, and there's also a lot of ties to child pornography and lots of other things.
I thought they took stuff like that down.
Some of them do, but they are tied to people that are also a bunch of fucking pervo weirdos. Some of the things that Anonymous has done, for instance, you know that whole like there was a meme about it, like you done goofed, where they were going after this guy.
Sounds like a 30 Rock meme.
And he kept saying you done goofed. Well, he was actually defending his daughter from Anonymous on 4chan because they had been basically harassing this 13-year-old girl to take off her clothes. And then when he flipped out,
I don't know how we got here, but
they turned the table. I'm just saying that Anonymous is not all.
From Gremlins posters to weird political.
You said Anonymous, and I'm just saying.
It's true.
I don't complete. I mean, yes, Anonymous has done some cool things, but they also do a lot of dick things.
Yeah.
And I think the dick things outnumber the good things. That's all I'm saying. And because Anonymous encompasses so many people, I 100% completely believe that there are people in Anonymous that are truly out there for the greater good, but they've been lumped in with so many assholes that are like, I'm Anonymous, that I think yeah. That's my thoughts on that.
Right. What if Brendo got doxxed, or what do you call it? Doxxed?
Why? How would it? They couldn't. How could you dox me? Everything I have is already out there.
All your records,
we know.
your financial records, you already kind of say that you're not a rich man here. What if they got Benson? What secrets does Benson have? The Benson family.
The very
secrets?
idea of doxing, the fact that it exists, makes me weep for humanity, because it's a horrible thing.
Could a Popsicles fan or a Radio Brendo man find where you live?
Somebody already has.
Really? What happened?
Well, I don't know if you remember this, but back in the Popsicles older days, some weirdo just sent me my home address and was like, "I found out where you live." And I was like,
who?
Cool.
Some random person. I don't know who was.
They emailed that to you?
Yes. And they were like, and I'm like, why would you send me that? They're like, I don't know.
In the pantheon of people to find on the internet that you would want to find I think that's kind of flattering that they thought of you.
I was, because I was like,
Kate
so is this,
Upton? No. I want to know where Brendo is.
well, then it's like, what are they gonna do? Come over to my house, knock on the door, be like, hey?
What would you do? How would you handle that?
I would be freaked out,
So-
probably.
What if he looked like the guy that killed Chris Kyle in American Sniper? Like cap over his face, all dirty.
Why would he do that?
I don't know.
Why me?
Oh man, when I make the Brenda movie, I hope it doesn't it doesn't end like that. So many biographies end with them just getting shot. This goes well into something I wanted to mention. So you know that kid that played that guy that you wanted to play Brendo in any sort of Brendo movie? That kid that was in the pajamas in that movie?
Oh, yeah, the kid from Terry, yeah.
He is in a movie called Unfriended, which is like a Skype movie.
Oh, is that like, found
Skype
footage
horror
horror movie? Yeah.
Yeah, so he was one of the friends in it, and at one point, he watched the trailer.
I'll have to
Can
watch
you
it,
wa-
because
can you
I didn't
wa-
know he was in it. I really like him.
Did you watch it now? Can we get your reaction to it? Would that fuck anything up?
No, I can do
Okay,
that.
why don't you pick that up? Because there's a point in it where Brendo, not Brendo, it looks
Brendo.
so much like Brendo, and I'm gonna spoil. He gets killed in the middle of the trailer, but it is exactly what I want out of a Brendo death. I've mentioned before how it would be funny to just see a flailing Brendo just get shot up to ribbons, just because it would be funny to see, not because I want to see that in real life.
Ooh, that's clever. Hitting the play on the Universal logo, I like that.
That was almost sarcastic.
No, I'm serious. I really like that.
All right,
I've heard good things about this movie.
describe what you're seeing.
It's like a bunch of YouTube videos,
Uh-huh.
and then
I'm
it
watching it
says,
too on mute.
but
Okay.
so do your mistakes up here. So then it's like some girl. On April 9th, 2013, a video of Laura Barnes was anonymously posted to the internet,
Oh no.
and she's like drunk.
Shut up.
OMFG. She's such a slut. Waste of life.
Yeah,
3 days
LOL.
later.
I wish I could take
Oh,
things.
no.
Holy shit!
She killed her.
A video of her killing herself. Today is the anniversary of her
Oh, this is
death.
old school. I kind of like this.
Oh, I'm there this opening day.
Yeah, I've heard good things about this. Like seriously. Oh, look at him. He's raised.
Is that not a doppelganger for Brendo?
That is me.
It's a young Brenda. Oh no! Don't take that call, kids.
Oh man. So now
You know what?
somebody.
He actually kind of looks like 80% Brenda with just 20% Phil mixed in.
I'm sure that thing is in a lab somewhere.
Tell me who posted the video or someone dies.
Okay, it's coming.
The spring.
Oh shit. So he turned off all their power.
Uh-huh.
It looks like the YouTube video.
So they're in like a Google Hangout like we are right now.
Yeah.
Keep watching.
Here we go. Oh no! Is this it?
Holy
Oh
shit! Is that him with his hand stuck in a blender?
It's like a
Looks like-
blender. When that happened in the theater, Jordy had a heart attack because he was like, "That is the most Chris Farley thing I've ever seen." Just that frozen shot of him like, ah, and screaming as his hand is in a blender.
Okay, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I have that moment. I don't need to kill you in a movie now.
That's
moment.
the Brendo death moment.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about with that movie. It's coming. It's called Unfriended. It's coming in April.
I'm excited. I understand how the ghost can control the blender, but I want to see how it gets Brenda's hand in there.
Well, if you've seen White Noise with Michael Keaton, you'd understand that ghosts can run the appliances. So yeah, I got the poster anyway, but I'm not happy about the way it went.
Yeah.
What was the
That
last
sucks,
poster
dude.
you got, Brendo?
The last Mondo I got was at Comic-Con.
Right, so
That was
now
like
you
2
stick
years
to the
ago.
sales. What the leftovers are these days?
Yeah, I well, one is like a money thing. Like I haven't bought any posters in a long time, but I, the last thing I got on their website was the dry vinyl, and I used the Adam Wells method, and it worked.
Hmm. Well, what else have we got here? So, I've officially, in my community rewatch, have moved into season 4.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, Brendo. I watched the first 4 episodes last night.
Yeah.
Now,
It starts off like ubiquitous. Like I'm not. That's not the right word. It just
keep in mind that it has a lot of
innocuous.
the same creative team,
Yeah.
directors and writers. Not all of them. The core are gone. Dan Harmon, Chris McKenna, a few others that Benson may be able to mention.
No, I mean, those are the 2 big ones. I couldn't name off the top of my head the others.
Now, I want to say that they tried. That whoever the 2 showrunners
I think
were.
they did. I
There
think
were
they
the
did
happy
try.
guys, and it's worth mentioning that Megan Gans was there, and she was like kind of the number 3 before.
Yeah, Megan Gans was still there in season 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And which is maybe why she's not there in season 5.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You think so?
Oh well, I mean, she went to Modern Family. I think she got that job before she would have left anyway. But there was definitely a moment on Twitter where it seemed like there was some bad blood between her and Dan Harmon.
Yeah, I remember
You
that.
think that's fair?
I mean, I don't know if I can say it's fair. I get it. I can see why he would feel that way. I wouldn't necessarily call it fair though. I don't think like it's like I don't think he's still mad at her. I think it was just kind of in the moment as season 4 was going on, there was some bad blood.
The cast saves a lot. The cast is still amazing.
Yeah.
They managed to save a lot of the badness. I mean, it feels more hit and
But there's
miss than it
still
does
so
bad.
much badness. I mean,
It feels more miss than I would call bad. It's like I would watch like the first episode,
I don't-
History of Ice Cream. Like, in order to get into the class, the dean has these games called the Hunger Deans, in which you must compete for red balls in order to get into the class.
mhm.
And Jeff wants to get all 7 of the balls because it's his last year, and that's all he needs is the history credit to graduate, and he still wants to do it with everybody else, but they're mad at him because he didn't tell them. So he's taking it upon himself to get all 7 balls so they could all be in the same class.
Mhm.
Now, this idea isn't like the Hunger Games thing. It would probably be a much older reference in terms of some sort of gladiatorial games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would probably be the whole episode, like they constantly cut to other cast members doing other things. Like this would be one of those all-encompassing world shows. Like
Yeah.
And it probably would be something else. But you know, they tried, is what I'm saying.
I'll agree that they tried. I don't think I have as positive a feeling of the result as they do, but there's definite effort there.
So I found that first episode. I was like, okay, that was a solid effort. There was a lot of funny stuff there. The second, I believe, was the Halloween episode where Chevy Chase's character, I don't know why it's escaping my mind. Pierce was locked in his haunted house.
Mansion thing, yeah.
And they had to go get him. That was also not bad, but also wasn't as good as the first episode. The third episode is the one I remember liking the least, but this time I kind of found it watchable. It's the episode where they go to the Inspector Space-Time convention.
Yeah,
See, that for me is what turned this Inspector Spacetime episode. At first, I liked it, and then when
I remember that.
When Benson pointed out to me the way the joke with like the nerds chasing after Britta, and he's like, Dan Harmon never would have had that joke on there. And as soon as Benson pointed that out to me, it kind of that's when things started souring for me.
Well, also, a Dan Harmon convention episode would probably been another like all-encompassing.
Yeah, it would have been the whole thing.
And the Dan Harmon had an outline of that episode. Like that was based on one of his ideas. That episode.
So you're saying that they used a few of his ideas? Because that would make sense.
At least that one. Because
Okay.
I know for a fact that Dan Harmon was planning on doing a convention episode where Abed kind of meets a new guy and Troy gets nervous.
Right.
But
Because
there
I
was
like
still,
that.
I think it was Richard Iotti. I think he wanted Richard Iotti to be the new guy. And of course that didn't happen. It was Matt Lucas in the final episode.
Because I
But
like that idea, and I thought Matt Lucas was good in it.
yeah,
And there's a line where they're talking to each other in like a weird, fast shorthand, and he's like, "Inspector Spacetime Christmas Special, horrible." But when it set up, brilliant. Like they were back and forthing that. I think
yeah,
that's pretty clever. I think, in terms of the way geeks speak, anyway.
yeah.
In my approximation. But in the middle of it was like they try. There's these sitcom tropes like. Um, I don't know why I'm forgetting their names. I've been watching them every day. Alison Brie's character,
And
Annie, is like in a hotel room, and
Yeah, there was that whole thing. Wasn't that where she was like pining for Jeff
the
and
people at the front desk called her Mrs. Winger, and she was just kept ordering things because she liked them calling her Mrs. Winger.
Yeah.
Like that was
garbage.
that wasn't great. And then Trisha Helfer thought that Jeff was a Inspector Spacetime villain. I'm not even sure what the hell that was.
Yeah, that
She
was
was supposed to be really, really hot, but she was a fan. But I don't know. It didn't really gel. But the only thing that was good in that was Troy being jealous and wanting to trying to take a picture of them fused together as a character that is fused together, and it was like really expensive. And he's been wanting to take that picture with Abed all day long, and he acquiesces to Britta at one point. I thought that was the whole relationship between Troy and Britta is immediately accelerated and weird.
Yeah.
The weirdest thing in season 4 I still attest to is that weird. They're watching Inspector Spacetime, and Abed hears it, and she has to sneak out of the apartment to go into the front of the apartment. I can't even explain why that's so weird, but it's just weird.
That whole scene was just so
yeah.
That's one of my things I point to for like the weird that season 4 was like that scene and
certain characters get leaned on too much, like a lot of Troy lines, a lot of Jeff lines.
And if I can just talk about the Halloween episode for a second, that was one of my least favorite of the season because I think that was the episode where it was most. They made Troy into just a dumb person in that episode.
Yeah,
which didn't service his character well, I thought. It did also have one of my favorite jokes of season 4 though, when Pierce reveals that he built his panic room on a certain date, and then they realized that's because that was the day after. Fuck, I can't.
I didn't get that. I was wondering.
It was the day after the Do the Right Thing. It was the day after.
Right.
Actually, that was a great joke, but.
Oh, I didn't get that.
I didn't get that either. And now it's really funny.
Yeah.
Another thing, like Abed was like watching everybody going through the haunted house, but I feel like Abed.
He would be in it. He would be in the thick of it.
They missed this a bunch of times, like when he was kidnapped by that guy in the Inspector Spacetime convention. Like he was like, "Oh no, I have to get out of here." He would have morphed into some sort of character.
Yeah.
Like he's never watched. And then that first episode, there's a sitcom in his head.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I feel like it's nothing is in his head. It's all his reality, and that's what it has always been. Yeah. Like the sitcom is what he's doing. It's not stuff he's interpreting in his own head. And he would be a character in the situations where he would need to be a character.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be a guy watching it. Anyway. Like they lean on certain characters that are easy to write for, and people like Shirley and Britta kind of get left to the wayside because they don't really know what to do with them. Mm-hmm. There's this weird moment where Britta is like, I got skills, and they're like trying to make Me So Hungry happen again. They're trying a lot to make Me So Hungry happen again, and it's not happening naturally.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing about season 4 is they didn't know why Gillian Jacobs works the way she works within the show.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of it.
Yeah, and they even like have her in like sexier clothing, which is weird.
Yeah.
And I remember being mad at the way they would treat Annie in Dan Harmon episodes.
Well,
but I've heard him talk about how it's clearly like I am frustrated by how sexually charged Annie is, and we have to address it every once in a while
Yeah.
because that would be anybody in this
I
in
feel
her
like
situation.
season 4 Britta, they were writing her like Penny on Big Bang Theory.
Oh yeah.
I think that's because they
Are
like
you
you said, I
qualified
think
to say that?
I've watched enough Big Bang Theory to understand the the premises and the characters and the way the show works, and I don't like it at all.
I just watched an episode where Sheldon yelled at her for sitting in his spot, and then he left to go to the comic book store, and she accidentally shot a paintball into his spot, and they tried to rub it out, and then they turned it over, and he noticed, and he was very upset that his spot had changed at all.
That's
And I was like,
stupid.
oh, like my boys Brenda and Benson. No, I didn't say that. So yeah, season 4. Oh, and then the German episode is the one I saw after that. And it was weird because like German jokes are dumb. When they did, it wasn't even the strongest thing in the first place. With Nick, I hate Nick Kroll. Those characters were bad, but they weren't even in it a lot. So even Community was good at being bad, I thought. And this time, I didn't notice that they replaced Nick Kroll with Mo from the Three Stooges, and they really leaned on all the German
Yeah.
sayings and stuff, and that was the worst one so far. And then they had like a German fest because, and this is something I can't even decode. So the Germans were taking this group's study space in the
Mhm.
study rooms,
Yeah.
and no matter how early they would show up, they would always be earlier, the Germans.
Yeah.
So the study group decides to hold an Oktoberfest, and once the Germans participate in it, they are immediately punished for celebrating their own heritage because Greendale has a policy that if it's your heritage, you can't celebrate it. I don't understand that. Even as a
They're
joke, I don't
trying. I mean, there was some early season jokes where like they couldn't say Christmas. Dean says "Merry Happy." I think they were trying to do something kind of in that vein, but it
Like
just
PC type
totally missed the
jokes,
mark.
like that's pretty old hat, isn't it? It's like
I mean,
I did-
they did them well early on in Community, but I think this one I mean, it doesn't make sense, like you said. Yeah.
Right. And poor Chang is still like I had forgotten how well every season of Community was executed before this. The whole Chang takes over the community college and that whole Ocean's 11 thing where they're trying to
yeah,
get the key and free the dean. That like they I mean he was remember in the first season he was a Spanish teacher and he was a dick. That was it. Now he's some crazy guy in a Napoleon costume
Yeah.
taking over a community college. And at one point in that Halloween episode, Abed says, "Remember when the show used to be about a community college?" I didn't understand. I felt like that was something that could be refined. Like a lot of stuff is just stuff that could be refined. Like could be funnier if you put it in another context. But like,
Yeah.
was he breaking the fourth wall, or did he, was he understanding it as that he lives in a show, or I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Anyway, I will continue into season 5 all the way, making it to I think when does it come out? The season 6, March
March.
16th.
St. Patrick's.
March St. Patrick's Day. They released the first image of season 6, the first promo image,
Yeah.
and it's of all of the people that are left. That's another thing. I'm like, wow, what a fun show this was to work on. But then I was remembering all the drama that was coming out in like 2011 and 2012 about working
Yeah.
on it,
Yeah.
and 3 cast members are gone.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like,
but I would say only Chevy is drama related.
but we don't know that.
I don't
That
know. I
one is
mean,
the only one that
And then
like.
Nicole's Brown, her dad was very ill. She had to take care
yeah,
of him.
but then she immediately signed on to a new show.
Yeah, she signed on to a multicam show, which is like 20 hours a week versus the 80 hours a week on Community.
Okay.
It's I feel like I'm not hearing the whole story. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, but the Donald Glover thing is also weird.
He had his own show at FX.
Uh, If I were an actor, I would. I would think that the make or break between being on a show that good and doing something else that would have you as a lead would be how you liked working on the show. That was
Yeah,
good.
but I mean, you hear Donald Glover in interviews, like he wanted to be a rapper before he wanted to be an actor, and the new show was going to be very much, it was going to feature his rap song. It was going to be like a music show.
Then the
Right.
show
So I
never
could
happened,
kind
or
of see.
what happened with the show.
It never took off.
Ugh.
But I mean, it looked like he was going to get that show, and I could see that as being like, oh, this is a dream he's had from even before he ever heard of Dan Harmon. I could
Right.
see that being something he would want to jump on.
So, and then Harmontown is a huge piece of the puzzle when it
Yeah.
comes to that as well, and how you see how I mean, he's a very sweet guy in some respects, and then he could be a huge dick in others. So, he's a complicated man.
Yeah.
He's a complicated genius.
Yes.
I think he's a genius.
I'll agree.
But so, there's a lot of people that I've talked to around that had also said that they don't like working for him. But that's I don't know. It's sad.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
sad that they're not there.
He will address it on. He talks about it on Harmontown. There was a point when he would just come into work like in his pajamas, not having showered, screaming about the script, which I could see how that would certainly bother some people.
And have you seen Harmontown, Brenda?
No, I haven't yet.
There's a
I really
moment in the
want to.
beginning. They only really show the community cast members for a second. The documentary people ask the cast about Dan Harmon, and they're like, "Well, Dan is Dan," which is the universal symbol for like, listen, I'm not going to start slinging mud over
But
here.
then also on top of that, I mean, Joel McHale threatened to quit if they didn't bring Dan Harmon back.
Right.
So I mean,
That-
clearly
I think-
there's a respect there at the very least.
In
Yeah.
the realm of cast members that are behind Dan Harmon, I think Joel McHale is the one that's the most.
Yeah.
Because I also think that their sensibilities are more in tune. Like I think Joel McHale is also kind of the same way. I've heard from people that work on the soup actually.
Yeah.
So, but for poor like Alison Brie, like maybe she has less of a tolerance for that kind of thing. Anyway, I'm glad the
Yeah.
people that are back are back.
Yeah.
But it's weird that the Greendale 7 is now the Greendale 4.
Yeah. But then Paget Brewster's there. I'm a big fan of hers. Keith David, he's great.
I'm sad that Mike's not there anymore either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm bummed that Mike's not there. That I was hoping he would be back.
We get him on Better Call Saul. He's still around.
Yeah,
We
that's
get
true.
Actual Mike.
Yeah, it's true. We do get actual Mike.
So let's talk about Better Call Saul, because last time we hadn't talked
I've
about
watched 2
Yeah.
of the 3 episodes. I
Yeah,
haven't
same
watched the
here.
3rd one.
I have not watched the most recent, but I saw the first 2.
it. Now, why haven't you seen the most recent?
I just haven't gotten around to it. I've been busy with school and stuff.
Okay. You think you're losing interest?
No, I love the show.
I've
Okay.
been working on a writing project, so I was very busy with that
Oh.
this last week.
Oh.
Yeah, Medson's got some new stuff going on.
Yeah.
See.
So that's why.
The Fart Mountain movie is...
Yeah, I'm working on a Fart Mountain screenplay. It's got some third act problems. I'm really trying to break through. Hopefully, I can get that done soon.
I like it, but man, that poster of him at a payphone, they weren't fucking around. He's at a payphone a lot.
Yeah.
It's like I'm wondering like what parts of it are trying to feel like Breaking Bad and stuff that like doesn't necessarily have to. Like there's a lot of desert. There's a lot of guns in the desert, you know what I mean? There's a lot of like
Yeah.
desert wasteland. A lot of payphones. If the
Yeah,
whole
but
show is-
I like all the lawyer stuff. Like I like
that
I
too.
like the lawyer stuff.
Yeah,
I love like the whole his battles with the prosecutor. Like it's pretty funny. And
that if the whole thing was that, I'd be fine.
I think
I
Michael
don't
McKean. I like Michael McKean a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think you would have to like put people like Tuco in it so early.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
get
think
why
that-
they did that. I think they wanted to establish that connection right away. I feel like, I mean, in the long term, they might be, I feel like they're kind of jumping the gun a little bit,
yeah.
you know?
I
But it's
mean,
not bad. I
It's
just
not
think
bad,
they
no.
yeah.
had to do it later.
and I really like the whole. I think it's just like a kind of weird, interesting setting. Michael McKean in this no electricity house.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
liked
like
when they
that.
started with the black and white, and at first you're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
I
And
want to see
he's in
more
like the
stuff post.
Cinnabon. I want to see more post stuff. I want to see
Yeah.
more Saul as the manager
Manager
at a
of
fucking
Cinnabon.
Cinnabon and going home and watching his old commercials, pouring a
And-
highball, and that is like I want to see that show.
And I went to the Cinnabon the next day
Yeah,
for my free mini
I'm
bun.
super jealous.
Do you not have a mini bun or a
Not
Cinnabon
anywhere
area?
near here. No, I'd have
So
to go to the like mall.
Ukaipa is kind of out of the way then.
A little bit. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Okay. Benson, did you get your mini bun?
I did not. I don't. To be honest, I didn't really go in for the food tie-ins.
You
Okay.
just spoke some foreign language to
I
Derek.
know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna,
Sorry.
I'm trying to be nice. The other day, Dinosaur Dracula posted this week 5 Happy Meal bags from the
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
And when they talked about the Batman Returns one, I was like, I don't think I'll ever be as his line was, when I walked into a McDonald's and was surrounded by Catwoman and chicken nuggets, I was like, wow, Valhalla takes many forms. I was like, I feel that way too. Like I don't know if I'll ever be as happy as the vivid memory of going into a McDonald's that's decked out in Batman Forever shit, knowing I'm going to get all 4 glasses right now. Like, cause they don't even really do it up like they did then.
No, it's not the same.
So
It's
whenever
definitely
something
not.
like that happens, I
You gotta
jump on
take
it.
advantage of it. Yeah.
I had the 50 Shades of Grey drinks.
How
And
are
you know
those?
what? Every time I try to get something dumb, I have a roadblock. Like when I got the Spider-Man shake from Baskin Robbins, I had to go, 1 electro shake, please. And they're like, what? And I'm like, okay, now I have to explain. When I went up to the bar at AMC, I'm like, I'll have one of those 50 Shades drinks. I wanted both of them actually, and they're like, you can only buy one at a time because it's an
You
alcoholic drink.
drunkie.
And I'm like, okay, just give me one. He's like, well, which one? And I'm like, anyone. And he's like, well, one's cherry and one's peach. I'm like, dude, just give me the cherry one. And then he was making it, and he was like, we're out of lime juice. I'm like, okay, put something else in there or don't. I don't care. He's like, it won't be the same. And I'm like, really? Are you really this dedicated? I mean, I appreciate that, but I was trying to get the hell out of that bar with my stupid drink. Always happens. Always happens. I hope that Slurpees come back this year, because there's a lot of 2015 movies
Oh yeah,
that would be ripe for that.
I'm still waiting for the Marvel 7-Eleven tie-in that I feel like should have happened years ago.
I mean, they've been tied into 7-Eleven since the 70s, Brendo. They've been making Slurpees for years, decades.
Well, I'm talking about Marvel Slurpees.
I know they've been making Marvel Slurpees for years. In the 70s, they would
That's
have all
true.
the
They have
characters.
Thor, but they haven't done it since Thor. And how long ago was that?
Right. But I'm talking about the 70s. They had every character my names are dropping out. But John
What?
John Romita, like drawings of like every character.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you could get a Moon Knight Slurpee in the 70s. You can get a fucking.
Yeah, I remember the Slurpee. They're not doing as many Slurpee tie-ins. They used to
They don't do-
There was never not
not-
a Slurpee tie-in when I was a
It's
kid.
not as many. They're not doing any at all. Not even the dumb wrestling ones.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, look, the last time they did a wrestling one was for WWE
That was like-
12.
Yeah.
But I still have my Roddy Piper cup from that one.
The last Slurpee cup I bought was Cowboys and Aliens.
That was the last one they had.
Yeah.
And I can't believe they ended on such a down note.
Yeah.
But anyway, I like Better Call Saul, and if the show was just him and Mike at that ticket booth, That would be fine to me.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact, what if they did just bumpers? It doesn't even have to be a whole show. Like you're watching The Walking Dead, and then you get another
Yeah,
Mike
totally.
Saul moment.
Mike and Saul arguing about stickers.
Yeah. Did you guys watch SNL 40?
I did, and
I
I
watched most of it,
I
but the DVR
fucking
cut off the ending.
I loved it so much.
It was like the series finale.
Yeah,
It was so good. People
I liked your tweet. Like that was our Super Bowl.
That's my Super Bowl for sure. Like the Oscars aren't my Super Bowl.
Yeah,
The Super Bowl for sure as shit isn't my Super Bowl.
yeah, that was
This
it.
was it. And we only get it every. Not even. They didn't even. The last one was 25 that they did.
Yeah, the last one they did a big thing for was 25. Yeah.
And this one they did actual sketches. I thought that
Yeah.
was any sort of criticism that came towards it. I really sniped because I feel that it was pretty good. The whole
Yeah,
thing.
for what it was and what else could they have done with
They
that?
mentioned fries in Burbank. When are they going to ever do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
And then Norm Macdonald's like little backstage thing, that was nuts.
What's even better is reading his tweets next to his avatar, because his avatar is of him tweeting, I assume. But I was also disappointed by the Eddie Murphy thing, but he was there.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
crazy.
I mean, he was there, and I thought that alone. That's where Phil and I were talking about this on Radio Brendo Man. Is I feel like people that really criticized a lot of those things don't understand the context of like the show. Like,
Yeah, I was.
if you have been watching from like, because like I don't know about your guys' SNL, like, but I grew up where I would watch it a little bit. Like my parents would show me things, but then when they started showing the reruns on Comedy Central,
Right.
and they were like from all the years, so I became like a scholar of like watch. Like you'd watch, they would have a block of like 3 hours, and one would be a 75 episode, one would be like an 83 episode, and then one would be like a 95 episode. And so I grew up
Do you remember when
watching.
they lost the license for that? Do you know what they replaced it with?
No.
When they lost the rights to play Saturday Night Live, they gained the rights to play Mad TV.
Oh yeah.
That's like saying instead of getting ice cream for dessert every weekend, the dog's gonna shit in this
Yeah.
bowl, and we're not even gonna put it on the table. You have to come to it.
That's funny because I actually at the time when they were playing Mad TV, that's when I got way into SNL through like the best of DVDs.
Oh, okay.
And I would always watch Mad TV, being like, well, I guess this is all I have because I've already watched the best of DVDs so many times. I had no idea that if I was just like a couple years older, I could have had SNL.
And
That's infuriating.
Unfortunate. That's why Benson is what he is. I mean, it's not his fault that he was forced to live in a time where Mad TV was the thing that.
So what I'm trying to say here is that like, and then also because of that, I read all the books. I remember I had the SNL 25 book.
Yeah.
I read Live from New York. I read Saturday Night, the 85, 86 version of that book. Like all these, I just embraced the show, and
You've watched all the movies.
most of the movies.
You've seen The Ladies Man.
I have seen the ladies, man.
You've seen Superstar.
Yeah. So, but just if you, I feel like if you have that level of, I don't know, I don't want to sound like a snob here, but
No, you know what?
but
You earned
knowing
it.
the
You earned it.
fact, but knowing but if you have that knowledge of the show, then you would know that just Eddie Murphy being there is a ginormous a deal.
Yeah,
Like, he didn't
hasn't
have
been
to
there in
do
30
anything.
Years. 30
He
years.
didn't have
There's
to do
people that-
anything.
There's people that don't even realize that that's where he came from.
Yeah.
Or that's where all these people came.
And then Chris Rock's intro of him was the best thing because
I
it's
got-
completely true.
I got a little emotional during Chris Rock's
Yeah.
intro.
Totally.
And then I'd see people on there like, oh, Eddie Murphy wasn't funny. Like, yeah, because he didn't tell a joke. He wasn't trying to be funny.
Yeah.
But he was there.
He did tell one thing that I said that was funny, where he said, "Give it up again for Eddie Murphy."
I thought that was
Yeah,
funny.
that's true.
I thought he was, but they didn't. I mean, and I just thought it was a big deal that he was there,
Yeah.
and it was, and also his significance of the show, where without Eddie Murphy, SNL would have been canceled way back
Also-
then, and then it
Yeah.
wouldn't. and then I like Chris Rock saying like, imagine a world without SNL. Like it would be a very different world.
You wouldn't have Anchorman quotes.
Yeah.
Where would Phil be? I assume that Phil was really an Anchorman.
Oh, Phil. I mean, Phil wouldn't be Phil without. I don't know.
It would be like a bank teller somewhere. And it was all at least worth it for that tweet that Norm Macdonald sent that when he walked into the room with Chris Rock and Eddie Murphy, Rock screamed, just like Ollie and Zaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool just to see him there. I've been recently watching the old Eddie Murphy. They showed a couple weeks ago his last SNL that he hosted to promote Beverly Hills Cop.
Mm-hmm.
And even then he was mad. Even then he was like talking about how he didn't want to come.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the career of Eddie Murphy is very interesting. It's still like it's the kind of lore that you just. I mean, and then SNL has tons of stories of the careers of all those people. The careers that have crashed and burned, the careers that have soared.
Yeah.
That amazing picture of Eddie Murphy and Gilbert Gottfried that Norm Macdonald posted. Because he is still really tight with the comedians that came up with him.
Yeah.
And I think
He's
was
still
on
friends with Piscopo, which I think is kind of awesome.
That was crazy. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
enjoy this, Piscopo.
Oh yeah, like because my brother and I, if you ever want to watch something really sad, watch it. He did like a Showtime special like recently.
Oh no.
It's
really?
oh
Well, like Chris Rock was on Mark Maron talking about like Eddie kind of still think it's the '80s, in that he's like, what do you think? What's his name? He was on Seinfeld and he wrote that book, My Seinfeld Year.
oh
One of the main guys on Seinfeld. I don't know the
No,
books.
he was a writer. Fred something. God damn it! It's even a funny name. Anyway, like he was like, where is that guy? Because he was like a stand-up at the time.
Yeah.
When Eddie was stand-up, like in 2008, Eddie would ask Chris Rock, where is he? What's he up to? And he made the podcast rounds recently because
it's Fred Stoller.
Yeah.
Fred Stoller. He's like, where's Fred Stoller? What's he doing? Just like it's still 1987. And Fred Stoller made the podcast rounds recently because he wrote that Kindle single, My Seinfeld Year, and another one about being the weird nebby guy that's a guest on all these shows.
Yeah,
and
I always forgot he wrote on Seinfeld. I know him as like a weird nebby
He
guy.
talked about like how his daily routine now is like going to the Grove, sitting there, coming back home. Like he's kind of he has his group of friends that he sees at the Grove, but it's just like this weird routine, like this weird obsessive compulsive routine. And on the last night of the Sunset 5 Lemley, I saw him at the last show when I was there with String, and I wanted to go up to him and go, Eddie Murphy's looking for you, man. But apparently later on, after that podcast, it got back to him. He's like, hey, Eddie Murphy's looking for me. That's pretty cool. I talked to him for 5 minutes. That's kind of sweet, I think, that he's still like, where is he? Anyway, but like, and then Chris Rock talks about the Spade thing and how the reason Eddie Murphy didn't want to come up on the 90s is because Spade made fun of him. And how
Spade
even going
made fun of everybody on that bit, though. That's like all he did.
Even going into 2005, like he would tell David Spade, Eddie Murphy has like the biggest movies on the planet, the hottest wife, millions of dollars, and he still talks about you. That's nuts. But apparently they made up because if you go to the Sherman Oaks Starbucks on a Saturday at 11 a.m., Eddie Murphy, like a goddamn train, shows up on time every Saturday in his matching sweatsuit with his hot young blonde girlfriend. And David Spade was there one day, and they had an exchange and exchanged pleasantries, and so even that feud's over.
Huh.
Anyway, it was a cool special. I love Saturday Night Live, and I realized how much I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It just fueled. It reminded me, everything that makes the show amazing and wonderful.
I watch it
And
every week still.
yeah, and it gave me an appreciation because I think what they're doing now is great. I think they're doing a good job.
hmm
I
I
like the
think the
new
best
cast.
cast was that 2005 cast, to me, of all time. Kristen Wiig, Bill Hader, Will Forte. And
Yeah.
Andy Samberg was in there too.
Yeah, I mean that's
I wouldn't
that's
say that he was great or good, but he was there. And unfortunately, he had a huge impact on Saturday Night Live, and it's staying relative with the kids and the internet. He did make fun of Horatio Sands and Jimmy Fallon for breaking all the time, so I
that
will give
was
that to him.
Yeah.
that was really funny.
I saw the tweets were funny as well because when they had his rap with Adam Sandler, a comedian tweeted, "Hey, those guys are really good together. They should make a movie together. That I'd go see that." And somebody tweeted them. There's already a movie. It was called "That's My Boy," and the comedian tweeted back at him that picture of Rainier Wolfcastle doing stand-up with the meme. The meme text, "That's the joke." Yeah. So yeah, and Adam Sandler doing Opera Man.
That was
Yeah, that was
I could
great.
have watched
That was-
an hour of that.
when he came out as Opera Man. It like took me to a whole other level of like that music sequence was just one thing after another. Fucking
Blues Brothers.
like the moment you think it's over, like King Tut's there, Billy Ocean, the fucking Blues Brothers, like it just kept
His
happening.
Jaws song was hilarious. He's like, "Jaws, get away from me, you
Yeah.
Jaws."
And they just kept playing the same clip over and over again, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
But like, it's so simple, yet it's like the funniest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nick Ocean, not Billy Ocean. Billy.
They help me if I remember this because he was called Nick Winters back when he did the character in the 70s. Was that
It
just-
always changed. Each time it
It
changed.
Oh, did
changed
it?
like every time, yeah.
'cause I thought it was Nick Winters every time. My bad. My mistake.
Yeah, like Morton Short, Steve Martin, poor Chevy
I'm sure it was
Chase.
great.
Somebody
Chevy
tweeted that Chevy
Chase
Chase looked like
really
he was gonna,
rough.
He said he sounded like he was about to cry at every moment.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
feel like he looked. I mean, like he sounded like he was about to cry, but I don't think he looked any worse than he did like on Community.
I don't know.
No,
It looks
he
like
seems
it
heavier.
looks like he's gained some like major weight.
And I have a newfound appreciation for him while watching these Community episodes. Even in the bad episodes, he's good.
Yeah.
Chevy Chase, that's the thing. Like he's amazing in everything, even the bad stuff. But he's such a giant asshole. Like, I just like every time I listen to like those Stern phone calls, I'm just like, oh god. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it was good. It's crazy to see King Tut. Like I was like, oh my god, it's fucking King Tut. Dan Aykroyd had a interview on Howard Stern this week, and that we parlay into our second email that I have here.
Where Dan Aykroyd is still living in a world where he really thinks he's
No,
gonna get to make
oh shush.
a Ghostbusters movie. I know, I hope for him, but that's the world that he has lived in for the last 25 years.
Brendo,
And I love Dan Aykroyd.
Nothing will stop that.
here's the email. Get ready to start your engines, ladies.
No,
and
I've read this email.
Brendo, there can
I
be-
appreciate this email.
There can be complaints made about the Ghostbusters cast without accusing everyone of misogyny and sexism. I don't doubt for a second that horrible misogynistic things were written from the announcement of the cast, but I think people have opinions on the matter without being deemed a sexist. I have no interest in seeing another Paul Feig movie starring McCarthy. It has nothing to do with McCarthy being a woman, but everything to do with not liking what they've done together. That's stupid.
Okay, that's his opinion, so I respect it. I respect this email because I want to apologize if I came off as saying anybody that doesn't like the Ghostbusters 3 cast is sexist. What I was saying was I would say about 90% of the things that I read online were horribly sexist, misogynist, and or just being an asshole. And the things like this email, which had that's a legitimate opinion, and I recognize it. I think you're horribly wrong.
Right. This guy is definitely misogynist and sexist.
And that is the kind of thing. But I also think that
Disagree.
can we not can we just wait for the movie to get
I was
made
just kidding.
before we
Don't dox
really
me.
pass some
Anonymous,
judgment
don't.
here?
Okay, hold on. I was just kidding. Don't dox me, please.
Okay.
I was joking, and Brendo hilariously did not disagree with me.
Hey, that was part of me joking. We're all joking.
Okay.
Here.
You're a
No, I
secret
think that's a
comedic
legitimate
genius.
opinion. I've heard it before from other people. I think that's a legitimate opinion. Some people, but first I would say this isn't just my response to that opinion, is that this, first of all, the movie there's nothing made yet, so I'm happy for you that you can make that kind of sound judgment before anything's even been done. Good for you. But I would also say this isn't just a Melissa McCarthy, Paul Feig movie. This is an ensemble, a true ensemble, and also I like the.
What happened to Jason Segel? I was listening to Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I think he's sitting on top of a giant pile of money trying
so
to.
Sad. He could have made all these great movies.
Well, he's probably. I think he's just trying to figure out his next thing. I think.
Oh yeah, he was in Sex Tape. Oh, that was so terrible. That was awful.
Yeah, I think he's probably just recollecting himself.
He was so funny.
I still have faith that he's gonna do good things. Because he is. He's really funny.
He's in that. He's playing David Foster Wallace in that biopic.
Yeah.
Is that a drama?
I would assume.
Yes,
I want to
it
see
is.
him singing with Muppets and stuff.
He's just trying other stuff, man.
I don't like that. I don't like.
It's unfortunate, I agree, but
it's unfortunate that somebody said, "Why did Kristen Wiig decide to accelerate all the way to Bill Murray territory, where she's only in these weird indie dramas now? Like she didn't even really do many leads in comedies."
Yeah.
But she's still gonna. I mean, she's doing Ghostbusters. She's doing other.
I know
stuff.
it's good.
Plus, it's their decisions. Like, let them do their.
But I wish that because have you seen Skeleton Twins?
No, I haven't.
So that's a drama with her and Bill Hader.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is fine. And then when they decide to go on they break into a dentist office and go on that laughing gas, and for 5 minutes they're themselves again. I was like, oh man, I wish this was the entire movie.
Yeah, but but the thing this is where I still sometimes question whether you understand actors' ambitions, because you're always like, why don't people just be themselves? I'm like, but they're actors. They want to act. They want to do things.
Yeah, but what Derek is saying, he wants to see the movies where they're being themselves. I don't think he's necessarily saying this is what their career should be. It's what he wants to see.
But for an actor, they don't want to just be themselves. That's why they're actors.
Yeah, but he can hope, can't he?
He can hope, but I just think it's a weird hope.
Hey, what was the name
Derek
of the
what he wants. You're doing it, Derek. What Derek?
Okay, I mean, I think that, like I said, I respect it. I just don't. Whatever.
That was awesome.
There you go. You got Benson defending you. Like,
speaking of hope, what was the name of the camp in Heavyweights?
Oh shit!
Wasn't it Camp Hope?
I think it was.
I feel like it might have been Camp Hope.
Anyway, this was the 20th anniversary of Heavyweights this week.
Are they doing a screening?
No.
Oh, I thought you said that kid was doing a screening.
He tried, but he tried to do a Clueless one too, and it didn't work out. But you know what we're gonna get instead? I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Ugh.
I'm telling you, this kid has terrible taste. But it was the 20th anniversary.
Yeah,
and
it is Camp Hope. It is Camp Hope.
Judd Apatow was tweeting old pictures from the set, and Ben Stiller even said a few things, and I like that movie a lot.
Jerry grew up buff.
What's that?
I was looking at pictures of adult Jerry from Heavyweights. He grew up buff.
Oh, really?
I haven't even seen that, because he was also in Pete and Pete, and I didn't know has he been doing anything? It says he was on. It says he's on. He's on Gossip Girl.
And Gossip Girl ended like 4 years ago.
He's on the spin-off.
He's on one episode of Elementary as a character called Jersey Shore.
And now he's in. I guess he had an. I guess he's just doing he's doing TV stuff, like random TV stuff.
I mean.
I
He's looking
tweeted,
good, at
I
least.
tweeted at Judd Apatow that for the 20th anniversary, he should find the people that were the bodies that the kids' faces were pasted on for the poster. That was always so jarring looking, and he retweeted it.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And one of the kids isn't even holding the. Is it supposed to be a sandwich?
Yeah.
So I imagine they told four nobodies, act like you're holding up a sandwich, and then they didn't even properly put the sandwich in correctly. So one of the kids looks like he's not even holding on to the sandwich. And then who's the middle guy supposed to be? Just a random counselor? That guy's not in the movie, right?
Let me look at the
You talking about the cover?
I'm talking about the poster to
Yeah,
Heavyweight.
the guy in the sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That doesn't look like anyone in the actual movie.
He looks like he's a counselor from the Addams Family Values camp.
Yeah.
And what is that saying? Okay, here's four normal kids.
Yeah.
Here, now they have this giant sandwich. Is this a revenge tale where now we're going to eat people? We've been made fun of so long, now we're not going to try to lose weight, we're going to try to eat you?
I think they're just going for general zaniness.
Okay.
Man,
It seems
Sean
more like-
Weiss's head is like he's like not even like in the right like.
It's more mischief than zany to me. I'm very
Yeah.
put off by it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
It kind of looks like Tom Wilson.
Okay, I'm going to break that out. Hold
The
on.
guy in the sandwich?
Yeah,
No, I don't agree with that.
maybe like a little bit. Wouldn't it be like Paul Feig because he was the counselor? Like, isn't that who it should be?
But
But
who
it
was
should be
their
it should be
friend?
Lars. It should be one
I
of
guess
the
it should be. It should be Ben Stiller, right?
Yeah.
Heavyweights poster. Hold on. Gotta look at this.
Here, I'll put a. I found a big one. I'll put it up in
I'm
the
looking
chat.
on my iPad here.
Okay.
By the
found
way,
it.
the new tag at the end of the show should be Benson saying, "The guy in the sandwich." Okay, I'm looking
Plus,
at the
what the
poster
hell
here.
kind of sandwich is that? Is that like relish at the bottom?
Lettuce.
It
I'm
looks like
looking at it.
weird
Maybe
lettuce.
maybe that is Lars.
I don't think it's Lars.
No, it's definitely not.
Maybe it's another camper, because this is what I'm looking. There's two different bodies. There's two different posters with two different bodies. One poster has the kids in camp gear
Yeah.
holding up who I think is a camper in a giant sandwich covered in either cheese or mustard and either lettuce or relish. Are you seeing the two different ones?
I've only seen one.
I'm
I
looking
need
for
to find the
one.
other one.
And okay, I'm seeing in the second poster they're wearing regular clothing, and
Oh, I see this.
Lars is definitely in the sandwich.
And the one with the regular clothing.
Yeah, and Lars looks like he's going to work, or he's
Yeah,
doing
I'm seeing this
stand-up.
picture.
He's
I
not
still
even
don't know if I can call that Lars.
he's not even in camp attire. But if it's not a camper, then it has to be a counselor.
Yeah.
That's definitely Lars.
This one's got a tagline, they've never met a hot dog they didn't like until now.
Okay, yeah, that's
what does that
definitely
mean?
Lars.
Yeah. I think the implication is that Ben Stiller is a hot dog, which maybe is some kind of old-timey term for a guy who thinks he's cool.
Remember that Star Wars line that Triumph Insult Comic Dog tried to make fun of, and one of the guys' comebacks to Triumph was, "You're a hot dog." This is crazy. The variants in these posters are absolutely crazy. I don't know which is the one that went out as the real one. I think the
It's
one
the
that
same exact picture. They just changed their clothes.
Yeah.
no, but the counselor in the sandwich is also different.
No, it's the same
that's-
guy in both. It's the same exact picture.
I know, but the clothes are different.
The clothes are different, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They just changed their clothes, but it's the same exact guy. In
But
picture.
one
Like,
is clearly
they just-
steering away from being a camp movie, and the other
Yeah.
is these kids are running around putting people in the sandwiches.
the way they put that hat on him just does not work. Like, and there's a whistle hanging off of him. Like, it's so weird.
And that kid that's second from the left isn't even holding it up.
No.
His thumb is
Yeah,
exposed.
his thumbs. He's and then his second hand is not even like it's
Oh,
just
and Keenan-
grasping at air.
He's one arm in it.
Keenan's
Yeah,
one
that's
arming
crazy.
it. His other arm is like what is his?
Jerry is almost in a sexy pose.
Yeah, Jerry's
Yeah.
like sassy. Almost.
Jerry's like sticking that gut out. Like
Well, he's sticking his butt out too. Is the other
Yeah.
one.
it's true.
I think the DVD release had the camp. The
Yeah,
camp.
because I
stuff.
remember the camp one is the one I remember, and I would have seen the DVD cover.
Or maybe
yeah,
both.
I'm
'Cause
looking at it. What's it?
this poster has a release date on it. Has the camps. I guess maybe they did both.
And the camp one says Disney DVD in the bottom right corner, so that's definitely the DVD.
Okay. This has been the analysis of the heavyweights
Hey,
poster.
we're actually doing popsicle stuff on
Yeah.
popsicles. So.
Right. That's
Oh,
great.
here I got one where they're side by side. Because on the Blu-ray, then
Oh,
for
you
the
got a
Blu-ray,
comparison?
for the Blu-ray the release, they stuck
put-
in Ben Stiller
They
in
put
the
Ben
front.
Stiller.
Yeah.
Huh. Where's
That's
that?
crazy.
So it's the camp one, but then they.
Why didn't they just stick Ben Stiller's
I'll put it
face
in the
as guy
chat. I'll put it in the chat.
sandwich, right?
Oh, I see it. That's weird. That's real weird.
You understand what I'm saying? Why didn't they just put Ben Stiller's face on the sandwich?
I
Who
mean,
knows?
yeah.
If you just saw that image, what would you think that movie was about?
That these guys are gonna eat. It's kids that eat adults.
This tagline is: they don't run the fastest, they don't jump the highest, but they sure are getting the last laugh.
Well, that was also on the one with they never met a hot dog they didn't like until now.
Right.
Because
Oh,
that
this has
was on
two.
top.
Yeah, this has two
Yeah.
taglines.
Yeah.
So that's not even a sandwich; it's a hot dog.
Well, is that the implication? Is that what they're suggesting?
Who puts lettuce in? Is that where? So that's where it
That's
must
the
be.
relish then.
That's relish, not lettuce.
It looks like
So-
the ends of
On the
lettuce.
Blu-ray, it looks like lettuce, but on one of them, it looks like relish. Did they change the?
Maybe they didn't
They
understand
did.
the hot dog
They
line.
did. Benson, look at this
So they
one.
made it more
I'm
look
gonna
like
post
lettuce.
another
Put it
one.
in the chat. Put it in the chat.
I'll put another one in chat that definitely looks like relish. They totally changed the lettuce. Look at that one.
Okay, I'm looking at
It
this
looks
one
more
now.
like a sandwich bun than it does a hot dog bun.
That's true. This one does look more like relish. I'll agree.
See? Who made these posters? This is amazing.
So much thought of going into changing the entire.
Like
mood
there
of
must have
the
been some
heavyweight
kind of
poster.
post-it note
This
where it's
does-
like, turn the lettuce into relish. Like
This
that was
does
a
look-
note on this poster.
I didn't have a good zoom on the image I was looking at earlier, but now that I see it close up, this does kind of look like it might be Lars to me in the sandwich.
Yeah, that's Lars.
Weird, man.
Well, I think we celebrated the 20th anniversary.
But then,
of
okay,
Heavyweights
so Benson,
correctly.
Yeah.
looking at this one here. I'm gonna post this one.
Is there a third? You got a third image?
That's lettuce. Look at this one, and then look at the relish one. They changed it.
Because I think in one they didn't understand that it was supposed to be a hot dog.
Yeah, like
this
that's
is not
lettuce.
loading
That
for
Blu-ray
me.
one.
Let's see.
By the way, I want that to be my job.
I
Should you
do
go lettuce
too.
to the relish?
Like, I will stay late to continue this lettuce hot dog debate for the Heavyweights DVD cover. That I am invested in.
Because the Blu-ray cover, it's totally lettuce. They changed it from relish to lettuce.
This third.
You said that like you're talking about the JFK assassination.
Yeah, this is no good. This link you gave me.
Anyway,
No, this last one. It's
Draw your
Last one you gave me, it's not showing an image. It's just giving me an option to download an image, but it's not
Hey,
showing.
here,
it.
hold on. Here,
I don't trust that.
that.
no need to
Same exact
email.
link.
No
You
need
just
to
said-
email us
When
about
I
what
click
you
on
think
it, it
is.
brings up the image.
Not for me.
Anyway,
Well, it's totally
No need-
lettuce.
no need to email us about what you think it is because there are several different interpretations out there. We just hope you had fun listening to that. And how did that influence your life, that movie, Brendo?
I don't know. I think it made me feel a little bit better about being fat. That
About-
maybe I could go to a camp and
Did you ever go
Um,
to a camp?
a fat camp.
Yeah.
No, my mom threatened to send me to one a couple times. But I don't even know. Are fat camps real?
They must be.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's ever been to one. Okay, Benson, look at that one. That's totally
Okay,
lettuce.
this is the lettuce image.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh yeah, this is the one I was looking at before. That's absolutely lettuce. Yeah.
So, but the relish one is from the original poster, I think.
But that was the hot dog idea.
Yeah. Yeah, because
And then they changed it from relish to lettuce, which I don't understand.
Okay, now I'm thinking. Okay, now that tagline makes sense. Like they never met a hot dog they didn't like because they love eating hot dogs until now.
and then that's the hot dog.
This
It's
fucking
that.
guy who is in a hot dog bun. Like, fuck this guy. Okay. You guys invested in the Oscars at all? This would air, I guess,
No.
after the Oscars is already up. I think it's a good year, and then I don't even really care who wins because they're all pretty good.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think they're good. I agree. I haven't watched all of them, but I
I love
just
that Eddie Redmayne's embarrassed. Like, there's always an embarrassing movie out there when you're trying to do an Oscar campaign, and
yeah.
he in Jupiter Ascending is astounding. It is a must-watch performance.
My brother actually went out of his way to call me and tell me that I had to watch Jupiter Ascending because it was so insane, and he never calls
So
me
weird.
like ever, and he's like, because I even, cause he's like Brendo. Well, he doesn't call me Brendo. I think sometimes he does, but he's like, when was the last time I called you about a movie? Like that's how big of a deal this is.
Did he call
Go
you
watch
Brent
it.
Bro?
Sometimes he calls me bro. I don't know, maybe he's called me Bren bro. That's pretty good. I like that. But yeah, my brother went out of his way to call me to be like, you should go see this movie. So I'm trying to plan a time to go see it.
Sesame Street did a Birdman parody
Yeah,
called
it's
Big
amazing.
Birdman.
It's amazing.
It's crazy.
It's
I don't even
so.
think kids or adults are gonna understand.
Who
what
is
the
it
hell
for?
it is.
Like that's what I want to know. But it's amazing.
It's good to know that Carol Spinney's still doing it. That man is in his 90s.
Yeah, because because they got a different person to do Big Bird normally, right? Like it's not him anymore. Because
I think so.
it's
I
not
think
him in the
so.
Billy Eichner video because that's a
Right.
totally different voice.
Yeah.
Which because he's been doing Big Bird since like the 50s.
They should do a Whiplash one with Telly and Oscar.
That would be amazing.
See how easy it is to blow Brendo's mind.
Oh my god, that'd be great. Is Telly still on the show? I feel like they phased
He's
out
not as
Telly.
popular. He was more of an 80s anxiety
Yeah.
character. A lot of kids.
I related to Telly so much.
Now it's all Magic Muppets and Spanish Muppets and
Elmo.
having OCD isn't more as interesting as all the other Muppets that are there now.
I had a Telly horn for my bike where Telly's nose was the horn, like the bulb.
Lynch watches a lot of Sesame Street now because
Yeah,
of his boy Henry,
yeah.
and so I see some of it too, and they parody a lot. There's a Comic-Con episode. They had a Comic-Con on
Yeah, they
Sesame
do a
Street,
ton of parodies.
but one was a bar trivia question. They showed movie parodies that Sesame Street did, and they did a Twilight one,
Yeah.
and the Kristen Stewart Muppet was like, "I love him." I'm like, no, but we are people of the moon, blah blah blah, and she's like, "I love him." Like that was her only line. It was awesome. Did you see Annie?
I haven't seen it. Phil
You
saw it.
haven't? Oh, wait, I thought you saw Annie.
No.
Nobody gets this reference.
Phil and Janelle saw it without me, and I never got around to seeing it.
Jupiter Ascending is the movie they go see in Annie.
What?
When they go to the movie premiere, Phil Lord and Chris Miller made this weird young adult movie within a movie for them to go to the premiere to that starred Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis called Moonquake, where Mila Kunis was a child of the moon, and Ashton Kutcher was a human being that she falls in love with, and Rihanna was like from the moon base. It was like this
that
weird.
is Jupiter Ascending, isn't
It's like this weird young adult crazy sci-fi thing, and it's exactly the same thing.
it?
But nobody's seen Annie, so they don't understand.
The thing that my brother couldn't stop talking about was he said that Channing Tatum is like a half werewolf that is on rocket rollerblades.
Yeah, he's skating through the sky.
Like that's what he said. He just could not get over that. Like he just kept talking.
It is
about it.
unget-overable because you look at it and you're like, why is there so much of this?
And he said like there's like 8 scenes of Mila Kunis like cleaning toilets.
Yeah, she's a maid that turns out to be the queen of Earth.
Yeah.
And you know what her reaction to that is when they tell her, "Hey, you're the queen of Earth." She's like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'll go to your planet now." But she's not a person that's like, she's cool. She's like a laid-back person. She's not the kind of person. That's just Jordy pointed out. That's the second time she's been missed, like in that Oz movie where she's supposed to be the Wicked Witch. She's also like, I'm cool, man. She's good, but she's miscast.
Yeah. Maria Flower says the Wachowskis are doing something for Netflix series.
Yeah, it's true.
There's
Seems like
apparently
everything's doing. Have you watched Netflix Richie Rich yet, Derek?
What? A cartoon?
No, there's a live action Netflix exclusive Richie Rich that is being released I
I don't
think
know
it
about
dropped
that.
today, but the trailer is ridiculous.
I don't
It
know
looks,
about that.
it looks terrible. It looks horrible.
It'll never be as good as '90s Richie Rich
Oh,
where he has
hold on.
McDonald's in the
This
house and the
this
roller
will.
coaster.
I was never a huge fan of Macaulay Culkin, Richie Rich, but this will make you
Really? It
I
is.
loved
yearn
it.
for that.
There's
I
no
think I
reason
was
not to
too
be a fan of
old.
that.
I think I was too old, but
You
I
were
mean,
too old for a catapult? A catapult? Excuse me?
I watched it. I liked the. I mean, there was the McDonald's tie-in, which I was
Were
all
you?
about that.
Sometimes you get mad when you clearly can't participate. Did you feel
I
that
think
maybe
that
you
might
couldn't
have been. I
participate in the
think
catapult? Do
yes, that might have been it.
you remember when they sent over the
Plus,
fat kid? He had a bag of chips in his hand as he
yes,
was being thrown through the
absolutely.
air.
I think I was also very attached to the cartoon because that's what I grew up with, and
Right,
it wasn't very much. It wasn't, and the cartoon is more like the comic book.
right.
So, but I mean, I liked, but this looks just ridiculous. This looks
Do you
nuts.
remember Royal Roy?
No.
When Harvey stopped producing comics, Marvel tried to do the character. They tried to buy the characters for kids comics line. They're like, no, so they just ripped them off. Like they literally ripped off the Harvey style. And Royal Roy is a little rich boy that looks exactly like Richie Rich, but he has red hair.
This big Mario says no robot made, no dice. There is a robot made in the Netflix one, but she's
Oh, yeah?
like she's human. She's like a Terminator. She got like human skin. It's not like the old
I
robot.
thought you meant like somebody tried to kill the maid and they put her back together again.
She comes in and speaks in Richie Rich's dad's voice, and then Richie Rich is like, "Please don't do that. You're ruining the illusion." And I'm like, "Whoa, is he like sleep? Is he fucking this robot?"
Did you dream this? I have not heard a single thing
I,
about.
s- I
I
found
just
out
seen
about
the
it
trailer,
yesterday.
too. Yeah.
I found out about it
Confirmed.
yesterday. I swear to God. There's
I
a
can
trailer.
confirm.
Look it up.
It won't be as good without Edward Herman as the dad.
No, it won't. It's nothing about it is as good, but it's something it's definitely worth looking into because I mean it's probably something I'll watch at 2 a.m. when I'm high.
Again, it has that '90s trope of we're adapting this '50s thing. Let's make it about a real estate scam. John Larroquette tries to kill his parents by
Yeah,
blowing up his plane, and then they survive. And there's that harrowing. If you are within the sound of my voice, please open up your ears if you've never seen the Richie Rich movie. The movie ends on a giant Mount Rushmore of the Rich family.
yes.
John Larroquette is shooting lasers at them as they are crawling around the faces of Mount Richmore. How is that movie not Star Wars? That is a crazy thing that I just said. And you know what? They cut this line out of the ABC Family run. Like at one point, because they used the laser to carve out Mount Richmore, and so at the end, when that's the place of the finale is taking place, they blow off the mother's nose. And at the end of it all, when they look at the steaming, ash piled Mount Richmore, she looks at her face. She's like, "Oh my God, it looks like Michael Jackson." And they cut that line out of the ABC Family airing of it. I think right after he died, and they never put it back in.
Yeah.
No, that really killed the podcast. That whole story. I thought that was an exciting thing. Anyway, I will check that out. I never saw Richie Rich Christmas or whatever the fuck that was, that direct-to-video sequel,
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that either.
or the direct-to-video sequel to Dennis the Menace. Man, what a heyday the '90s was.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, we got
A lot
a
of-
John Hughes Dennis the Menace movie. I mean, come on.
A lot of let's take this wholesome thing and have that character kick a villain in the balls. That was a lot of the '90s. Anyway, I guess that's our show for now.
Yeah.
We've made it through without a fight, I feel.
There we go. He
Yeah.
just had to jinx it.
Almost there. We're almost there. I didn't even realize it was
I
happening.
think we can make it. I think we can do it, guys. I believe in us.
I'm gonna watch Coneheads after this. That's on Netflix. That's an underrated.
Oh, it is.
SNL movie.
I like Coneheads. I've seen it quite a few times. It has a great soundtrack. I remember I bought the soundtrack when it came out.
The
'cause
idea Dan
it
Aykroyd
had the Red
said-
Hot Chili Peppers song on it that wasn't available anywhere else.
The idea behind it, Dan Aykroyd said, was he was high watching TV and he's like, what if the character's head just made it all the way to the top of the TV? And that's how Coneheads came.
It's pretty great.
Yeah. feel like Dan Aykroyd genuinely does not get enough credit these days.
I
Like,
agree,
everyone's so apt to remember the current kind of crazy Dan Aykroyd,
but he is really nuts.
yeah. But
I-
it was
he
also
made me
really,
wanna
really
buy his
funny back in the
vodka.
day.
He said the vodka doesn't have any bad stuff in it. I mean, it could be bullshit, but I believe him. He hasn't
Yeah.
lied to me yet.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Bill Murray is amazing. I'm not Bill Dan. I think Bill Murray is amazing, but Dan Aykroyd doesn't get enough credit But you just watch fucking Blues Brothers and you're
Blues
like,
Brothers
holy
is
shit.
great.
Yeah,
And I
it's-
feel
it's-
nobody really knows that how crazy that ending is with all the cars piling
It's the
up.
best
Yeah.
thing ever. I was see that's the other thing. I think that's why I'm so tied to SNL and all that because I was lucky enough to we had a Boy Scout trip every year. We went skiing in Mammoth and we had at the condo we would go to. It was my Scoutmaster's condo and he had like 3 movies and one of the ones he had was Blues Brothers. So every year we'd watch Blues Brothers from like the time I was like 7, 8 years
Huh.
old. And like I love that movie. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
It masks the screams of young boys coming from the other cabin.
But
They also showed a clip of that Canteen Boy sketch where he
Yeah.
turns around and yells, "What the hell is that?"
yeah,
That's all you need. That's just that line. That's that line. You know what? I'm excited for Pixels. Speaking of Adam Sandler, like everybody's like, "Oh, what happened to him?" You know what? Maybe you're not. Maybe you're just not understanding what's going on here. Like I enjoy Blended. I do not regret watching Grown Ups too.
I saw that in the theater this last week.
They're just
Benson
getting
just told
nuttier.
me on. We recorded a new Matt and Brendo's wrestling show, and Benson told me not to watch Grown Ups 2.
I would never tell somebody not to watch Grown Ups too. That's crazy. Shaq punches.
Well, I mean, I've seen it 3
Jesse.
times now, so
Shaq punches Jess into the sky, Brendo.
yeah, that's true.
Wait, you've seen it 3 times and you're telling him not to watch it?
Well, I saw it 3 times because of this podcast that I listened to.
But,
Well, the worst idea of all time.
well, why do you see it a second time?
Well, okay, I'll run through each time. So this for people who don't know, this podcast is these 2 comedians in New Zealand who watch the movie once a week, every week for an entire year. They watch the movie 52 times.
I don't think we need to hear this. Like, why did you watch it 3 times? Just say
I'll tell you.
Say
So
it one
He's
sentence.
telling us, damn
So
it.
I love
I
this
know,
podcast.
but I don't
20
think you need it.
Well, there's a different reason for each time. 20 episodes in, I watched the movie because I felt like I had to because I love the podcast so much. And then the second time was because they did a commentary episode where they were doing commentary on the movie, so I watched it with commentary. And then the third time was because for their final viewing, for their 52nd viewing, they flew out to LA and
You
did
went
a
and
show
saw it
at
in a theater.
Yeah,
So why shouldn't Brenda watch it?
because it's
You
a
went to
bad
theater.
movie.
You went to a theater to see it, though.
If you can see it in a packed theater with 2 guys who have seen the movie 51 times already, and everyone's cheering at the points that they've mentioned on the podcast, then I absolutely recommend it, because that was an amazing experience. That was such a fun screening, and I did enjoy the movie that time, but I cannot recommend watching it like by yourself at home.
The dog says the dog.
Draw your own conclusions, Brenda. I don't know. But I am excited, and Benson says he's seen Pixels.
Yep.
So
So
yeah.
so what you're saying, Derek? I just got a free copy of Blended from what's that
Oh,
site?
watch it. If you are not,
From
If you-
it's from Flickster. They sent me a bunch of free movies. So
if you are not singing "We Are Blending" by next week when you see it at Target, I don't know. I don't know.
you're saying I definitely should watch Blended? Okay.
I remember me and Phil bonded over a moment in Blended. Remember that? I think.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
at Comic-Con. There was a moment that made me tear up in Blended.
Wow.
So I'm still on board with Sandler. I always was.
I mean, I'll never completely abandon him.
Yeah, well, like the
That's
idea
my
that
boy, I
the
would
idea
say.
that somebody makes something bad so you don't like him anymore. I've never agreed with that. Like all Adam Sandler had to have made was like a couple movies, and I'm
I
gonna
don't even
like him
think these
forever.
movies are bad. I'm not even saying that these are bad.
Okay, well, we'll let Brenda watch Grown Ups 2 and draw his own.
Hey, I mean, I liked Jack and Jill, so there you go.
There's Jack and Jill is fucking. That's my boy is fucking crazy weird. And you're not gonna see movies like That's My Boy without him.
And I'm excited for his Netflix stuff. I'm really excited for it.
I'll
Right,
definitely
whatever the hell that is.
It looks nuts. The cast is insane.
Hey, have you seen That's My Boy?
I haven't, but Phil did, and he told me about it, and it made me want to watch it when Phil talked
Okay,
about it.
there's this scene in it where I'm not gonna explain what the plot is. So Adam Sandler and Andy Samberg go to this bowling alley because he knows Vanilla Ice, and Vanilla Ice is working in the in the concession stand at the bowl. He is Vanilla Ice. He's not playing a character. He's playing Vanilla Ice, and he's working at the concession stand at the bowling alley. He's like, "Hey man, it's my son's bachelor party. Let's go party." And he's like, "Okay, hey Todd Bridges, watch, cover for me, man." And then so he leaves, and he's like, "Oh, he always does that." And a customer asks for chicken tenders. He's like, "We don't have that." And then he turns around and looks at the menu. He's like, "God damn it, we do." And I'm like, "This is great. This is a legitimately funny thing. It's not making fun of Todd Bridges beyond the fact that he's working at a bowling alley. But that's not where the comedy is stemming. He delivers that line hilariously. I'm just saying, there's a lot of hidden gems in Adam Sandler's work these days.
I agree with you.
And he's too easy of a target.
Oh yeah,
Too easy
totally.
for Yahoos to do a whole podcast about.
Well, and they talk about really, they didn't. It was never their intention to make him a target. It's just when you watch a movie, and it is a bad movie. I'm sorry, apparently you don't agree with that, Derek, but Grown Ups 2 is a bad movie. And when you watch a bad movie 52 times, you really notice weird intricacies, and you kind of lose your mind. And it's very entertaining. I highly recommend that show. But they say repeatedly they don't want to feel like they're making Adam Sandler a target. They kind of dived into this before really thinking about the implications. But nevertheless, the result is an amazing, hilarious podcast.
And they got money from Benson to see it in the theater even after he saw it twice. So.
Yeah, and I will say, well worth the money. It was one of my favorite live experiences I've ever had.
I don't know if that would anger me, that screening, because everybody's ironically.
I wouldn't say we were ironically watching. I was saying we were sharing in this journey that these two comedians went on.
I like that. I like that a lot.
And I was lucky enough. I was sitting right behind them, and I saw at the end of the movie after they saw it this last time. They finally don't have to watch it anymore. I saw a guy, one of them, reach over, kissed him on the head, and give him a hug, and it was a very nice moment. I was like, oh my god, they did it, and it felt like an accomplishment. And
I do not understand your generation at all. I do not understand what you just said or what that is. Brendo, let's take it home.
All right. Well, make sure you go to popsiclespodcast.com for all the links and all back episodes. It's got links to all our Twitters. I'm at BrendoMan on Twitter. Go to BenviewNetwork.com for all the new. There's new shows. Benson will talk about them in a second. There's some new shows. Also, MBWS, we're putting up a new episode today, Saturday. Benson and I just recorded one. We're on our road to WrestleMania.
Right.
And we're going to come back, hopefully, with Hal Lublin sometime in the next couple weeks. And then we'll have our WrestleMania episodes, probably episodes. And I'm excited about that. Radio Brendo Man, going strong.
Panel at Long Beach?
We're not doing a panel at Long Beach.
No?
We're doing a panel at WonderCon.
You're just going to Long Beach?
We're going to Long Beach on Sunday, yes, because we need to find people, because we've kind of fallen out of their system, it seems like, as we keep not getting panels.
So you're saying you're going to rub elbows and schmooze?
And see, because I like Long Beach. I like that there's a lot of creators there, and it's a good little, it's a small con. I like it.
Okay. So see him at WonderCon then. He'll be at Long Beach.
He'll be at Long Beach. We'll have stickers to give out.
He will not be doing an official appearance at Long Beach. Being there among you fans.
And I'm on 2 panels at WonderCon actually. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
So see him at the designated panels where he will be doing appearances. Please do not bother Brendo Man on the floor.
No, please bother me, please.
He's just trying to enjoy the con like you people.
Bother Phil.
Go ahead. Is that it?
I think that's it. Benson?
Go to BenviewNetwork.com. Check out all the shows on there. Benson's Boombox. We're recording a new episode today, actually, of that. You can check out Shut Up Leonard, where we talk about community. We're going to have Derek on that show soon, so look out for that. Benview on Spielberg, which was the result of some tension on our last episode. We just
I
covered
felt
Columbo.
it in our best interest if I just pretend that show doesn't exist.
Well, we're okay now. We had a heart-to-heart off air. We're all good now.
I wasn't even going to mention that, but we're stronger now.
Yeah.
We talked it out.
We did.
Buds.
Yeah.
Regrets a lot of things.
Yeah. And our last episode was about the episode of Columbo that Spielberg directed.
And
So
we
you
came
check
to
that
the conclusion that Brenda was really the one driving a wedge in between us.
Yeah, I think that sounds right to me.
That's pretty accurate.
So go to BenviewNetwork.com for all those and some new shows we got for any sports fans who went out of there. I don't believe it's on the site soon, but coming very soon we will have an Atlanta Braves podcast called Grissom on the Run, hosted by Matthew Esposito, who you may know from Nerd's Eye View, The View on Benview. And we also have a podcast called Dinner Party Small Talk, which is a great comedy podcast. There's sketches, characters, fun stuff there.
Competition for Benson's Boombox. You better ramp it up today when you record.
That's right. And it's actually that one is actually hosted by at least one of the hosts is a Big Popsicles fan. That's how she found us.
So shout outs. What's her name again?
Nissa Hamilton, and her co-host is Matt Graham.
So big shout outs to Nissa Hamilton and welcome to the Benview Network.
That name sounds familiar. That's not the Adam Wells' co-host that yelled at me for saying that she should marry Adam instead of whoever, the nobody that she's marrying because Adam can get her places.
No, it's a different person. Check out all those on BenviewNetwork.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at Dr. Matt Benson.
Dr.
Now, when I emailed
Dr.
you,
Matt Benson, that's correct.
That's not your email.
That's not my email.
Well, it was in my thing.
Benson's email address is funny.
No, wait. We didn't address it then because I felt like it was petty, but I typed in your name and that's what came up.
I don't know why, because that's not my email.
I think it was maybe from somebody else trying. I mean, it wasn't on. We were all on an email, or somebody thought that was your email, maybe.
Perhaps, yeah. Presumably that is just a real doctor named Matt Benson.
And how dare you have their Twitter?
Well, someone's got my Twitter, I feel.
Benson, Brian Apodaca needs your shirt size because he's making shirts again.
Oh, that's right.
3X, okay.
I like that he asked for a DM. I like that he asked for a DM because maybe you guys didn't want to reveal what your
Yeah, it's very polite of him.
Yeah, but I don't care. I'll reveal it on the show. 3X.
3X all around?
So 3X and then large for Derek over here for small fry.
Yeah. That should be another podcast. 3X all around with Phil, Brendo, and Matt. The 3X left.
I like that.
Oh my God.
That's
Maybe we should develop that.
We should. That's actually pretty good.
In the world. I can moderate it.
Yeah.
I'm offering my services.
Okay, I gotta go because Chris is actually here to do that.
All right, so that's the end. Go to @DerekArmijo, Twitter, and that's it. No need for more than that. All right, I'm Derek Armijo.
Brendan Creasy.
Matt Benson.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
All right.
Okay, we're done. We're out.
Yeah, we are out.
Okay, I will see you guys later because I have to pee really bad, and also Chris is at my door.
All right, later.
All right, later.